Chapter 113. Fire Phoenix said this in front of Tang Jing because she wanted to test the relationship between Tang Jing and Lin Hu. She guessed that Lin Hu must have something important to say to her. It probably had something to do with his future plans. If this matter did not allow Tang Jing to avoid suspicion, then it could explain a lot of problems. Translator, Atlas Studios editor, Atlas Studios. Who would have thought that Tang Jing would take the initiative to stand up and cup his hands and say, "Then you can continue talking, I'll go home first." Fire Phoenix looked at him with astonishment. "Young Master Tang won't stay for a while longer?" "It's already late, I want to go home." Tang Jing tactfully declined. "Young Master Tang, I'll send you off." Lin Hu stood up and walked out with Tang Jing. At the entrance of the restaurant, Lin Hu suspiciously asked, "Young Master Tang, you don't seem to want her to know about our relationship?" Tang Jing nodded. "I'm currently a student, so it's not good for me to have too much contact with her. Moreover, I've already said very clearly that you can handle matters in the underworld by yourself. Only when needed will I make a move." "I understand. I see that Fire Phoenix is very sincere, so this cooperation should be quite pleasant." Lin Hu speculated. "Then I'll work hard." Tang Jing waved his hand and walked home. Lin Hu looked at his back and thought for a while before turning around and returning to the private room. "Fire Phoenix, I won't beat around the bush. This time I've taken over Boss Fan's territory and will definitely attract Hoodlum's attention. You know that I'm not Hoodlum's opponent, so I want to ask for your help." "Oh, you want to ally with me to go against Hoodlum?" Fire Phoenix raised her almond-shaped eyes with a smile that was not a smile. "Behind Hoodlum is Master Huang, aren't you afraid?" Fire Phoenix asked. "Afraid? Why wouldn't I be? What's the use of being afraid? Do you think Huang Si will just watch as I grow stronger and do nothing? Since he will deal with me sooner or later, I might as well prepare a countermeasure." Lin Hu revealed a fierce expression as he resolutely said, "You actually dare to call Grandpa Huang by his nickname? You've changed a lot recently, I almost couldn't recognize you." Fire Phoenix said with a hint of ridicule. In the past, Lin Hu was content with his own territory and did not have much fighting spirit. Now that he dared to go against Huang Si, Fire Phoenix had a whole new level of respect for him. It's impossible for a person to remain unchanged. Otherwise, he would be eliminated by the times. "You've even become a philosopher, saying such philosophical words." Lin Hu ignored her teasing and continued, "I know that this matter is risky, but risk and opportunity coexist. As long as we take down Hoodlum, we can split his territory equally." "Hee, you make it sound so simple." "Do you think Grandpa Huang is so easy to deal with? Where are you going to find an expert who can contend with him?" This was one of the problems in the ordinary balance underworld. Everyone wanted to be big and strong, but they could not avoid Huang Si. Although he had already retreated behind the scenes, as long as his benefits were harmed, he would definitely deal a heavy blow. "You don't need to worry about this problem. Naturally, there will be someone who will step forward." Lin Hu was full of confidence. Since Tang Jing dared to challenge the Huang clan and even made Huang Xiang suffer a loss, this showed that the power behind him was not to be underestimated. Fire Phoenix's smile disappeared as she solemnly looked at Lin Hu as if she did not recognize him. "Who will step forward?" "This is a secret for now." "Since it's a secret, then there's nothing to talk about." "Don't worry, I won't tell Grandpa Huang, but your matter has nothing to do with me. When the time comes, just don't bite me." Fire Phoenix directly walked towards the door. Lin Hu's expression slightly changed as he said, "Fire Phoenix, don't tell me you don't want to take revenge for your husband?" Fire Phoenix suddenly stopped and turned around to stare at him. Her eyebrows were filled with killing intent. "Lin Hu, what do you mean? I don't believe that you have never suspected your husband's death. At that time he was like the sun in the sky and could even threaten Huang Si. Could it be that his death was really that simple?" Lin Hu did not care about her anger as he spoke to himself. Fire Phoenix's expression fluctuated, but she did not say a word. Lin Hu's heart moved as he knew that he had guessed correctly. She was definitely still suspicious of Huang Si, but she did not have any evidence. He decided to add fuel to the fire and said, "After your husband died, Huang Si quickly grew stronger, which is why he is where he is today. That is why he is the one who benefited the most. This is something that anyone with eyes can see. If you want revenge, then this time we will topple Hoodlum and cut off one of Huang Xi's hands. In the future we will get rid of Huang Xi and truly take revenge for your husband. You want to convince me with this? That's too simple. Wait until you are willing to tell me your trump card, then come find me. Fire Phoenix slammed the door and left. Lin Hu's expression fluctuated as he did not think that he would not be able to convince her. It seems that she was even more cautious than he thought. His trump card was Tang Jing, but Tang Jing did not want to reveal his identity. This made him very helpless as he fell into a deadlock. In the following 2 days, Tang Jing continued to cultivate at home in order to avoid the monthly exam. His qi had increased by quite a bit. What he needed the most now was to refine the spirit pill, but there was still no news from Yi Xuanji. However, he was not worried because Yi Xuanji would definitely take the bait. As expected, Yi Tianlei personally drove the car to bring him to the Ye family. The way Yi Tianlei looked at Tang Jing was different from before. It was as if he was lamenting that he had misjudged him before. Tang Jing was far more powerful than he had imagined. It was also as if he was rejoicing that Tang Jing had finally given him the conditions and prevented this matter from developing in the worst direction. Of course, Yi Tianlei was also very clear that this matter was related to his wife and daughter. After all, this transaction also involved Yi Dingdong's benefits. Tang Jing, thank you. Suddenly Yi Tianlei said in a serious tone. Tang Jing looked at him and said, "This is a transaction. It's very fair, there is no need to thank me." Yi Tianlei shook his head. "I'm not talking about this. It's because you let Dingdang get rid of her shackles." Of course it was the shackles of the marriage contract. Yi Tianlei clearly remembered how angry Yi Xuanji was when he found out about Tang Jing's conditions. He did not care about the 300-year-old ginseng, but because his family was involved and used this condition to threaten him. He had always had absolute control over his family, but the ordinary balance Ye family was not under his control for a long time and had already undergone subtle changes. He could no longer control this Ye family. But he had nowhere to vent his anger, so he could only swallow it. It's nothing. Moreover, this will make him very angry. I just don't want to see him happy. Tang Jing said somewhat gloatingly. Yi Tianlei shook his head and smiled bitterly. This kid had a worse temper than he did in the past. He did not dare to treat the old man like this. In fact, although the old man's methods were indeed inappropriate, it was also for the benefit of the Ye family. Yi Tianlei explained. He did not want the conflict between the two sides to intensify. Tang Jing waved his hand, indicating that he should stop talking. For me, the happiness of my family is more important than the illusory benefits of the family. I only know that he did not fulfill his responsibility as a grandfather, and that alone is enough. Yi Tianlei did not explain anymore. They were silent all the way to the Ye family manor. Yi Xuanji and the King of Medicine sat in the hall and whispered to each other. In front of them was a huge box. Yi Xuanji raised his head and glanced at Tang Jing, then looked straight ahead. He did not look at him anymore, as if he did not want to see him. Of course, he did not want to see Tang Jing. Although he had achieved his goal in the ordinary balance trip, he almost died of anger. It left a strong impression on him. Yi Dingdang walked down from the second floor. She smiled and winked at Tang Jing. "You're here." Today was the monthly break after the monthly exam, so she did not go to school. Tang Jing nodded. Before he could say anything, Yi Xuanji pushed the box in front of him and said, 300-year-old ginseng. Tang Jing walked over and opened it. A ginseng that looked like a miniature version of a human was lying there quietly. Even its facial features had the appearance of a human. "Is this 300-year-old ginseng?" Tang Jing asked Tian Chanzi. He could not tell, but Tian Chanzi could. "Yes, this has already taken shape. In fact, it already has a bit of spirituality. If it cultivates for a few hundred years, it will be able to transform into a human." Could it be that ginseng can really become a spirit? Tang Jing was very surprised. Tian Chanzi said with disdain, "Of course, many things in the world can become spirits. Ginseng contains the spirituality of the world, so it is easier for it to become a spirit. However, ginseng does not have much self-protection ability. After becoming a spirit, it is easy to be caught and used as a material for others to refine pills. That's quite pitiful. Tang Jing sighed. What's so pitiful about it? Treasures of heaven and earth, this is their fate. Tang Jing closed the box and took out the bottle from his pocket and placed it on the table. Yi Xuanji's eyes were immediately attracted to the bottle. He firmly grasped it in his hand and let out a sigh of relief. He looked up at Tang Jing and expressionlessly said, "Why don't you check this ginseng? What if it is not 300-year-old? I have already checked it. To be exact, it is 310-year. Tang Jing lightly said. Yi Xuanji revealed a suspicious expression. He only knew that this was indeed 300-year-old ginseng, but he did not know how old it was. This thing was not as easy to find as gold and silver. He spent a lot of effort and a lot of money to find it. The king of medicine could not help but raise his eyebrows and asked, "Tang Jing, how do you know this is 310-year ginseng?" "I can tell." Tang Jing was still as calm as ever. There was a kind of steadiness and calmness that was completely inconsistent with his youth. The king of medicine smacked his lips and said, "In the past, my teacher also taught me a method to determine the age of ginseng, but it was not as accurate as yours. I could only tell that it was between 350-year-old. I never thought that you would be able to determine its exact age with just a glance." Tang Jing curled his lips. "This was what Tian Chanzi told me, so of course I can determine it. This method of identification must have been taught to you by your teacher, right?" The king of medicine somewhat enviously asked. Tang Jing continued to push the responsibility to his non-existent teacher. "Can you say it for me to see? Don't worry, I will exchange it with other things." "Tian Chanzi, how did you determine it?" Tang Jing could not help but be curious. "It is to sense the spirit of the ginseng. When your cultivation is high enough, you will naturally be able to do it. This old guy is not good," Tian Chanzi said. "Senior king of medicine, this method is not suitable for you," Tang Jing honestly said. The king of medicine regretfully shook his head and did not speak. Because the spirit-gathering pill was a pill that required long-term consumption, he had to refine more of it, which was why he had bought so many raw materials. However, he didn't pour all of it into the furnace at once. This was his first time using the 9-revolving pill furnace and he wasn't sure of the specifics, so he decided to test it out first. He revolved his internal energy, and a light purple flame jumped from his fingertips. He only saw a light point, and the flame flew into the 9-revolving pill furnace. The purple light immediately illuminated the inner walls of the furnace, giving it a mysterious feeling. He then placed a bag of medicinal ingredients into the pill furnace. The flames immediately enveloped the medicinal ingredients. In almost an instant, all the medicinal ingredients turned into liquid spheres. They were sparkling and translucent as they floated within the pill furnace. Traces of gas rose from the spheres. These gases are impurities. The 9-revolving pill furnace will automatically remove them. Tian Chanzi explained. A magic treasure and a first-grade true fire refining pill. It was really different from the last time Tang Jing refined the life-continuing pill. It was much more professional and much more advanced. Tang Jing stared at the sphere and found that it was getting smaller and smaller. This was because the medicinal properties were condensing and condensing. He carefully opened the box, took out the ginseng, and prepared to cut a part of it with a knife and throw it into the furnace at the right time. "Don't kill me, I beg you, don't kill me." Suddenly, a faint voice sounded, and Tang Jing stopped in surprise, looking around. "Tian Chanzi, did you hear someone talking?" "Talking? Who is talking? There are only the two of us here, who else is talking?" Tian Chanzi was baffled. Tang Jing scratched his head. Could it be that he was hallucinating? He was just about to cut the ginseng when the voice sounded again, and this time it was even clearer. He dared to conclude that it was not a hallucination. "I beg you, don't kill me." This pleading voice was very faint, as if a person was speaking weakly, making people feel pity. "For you?" Tang Jing asked in a frightened voice. Could it be that he saw a ghost? He was clearly the only person in this room. "Little brat, are you crazy? What kind of messy voice is this?" Tian Chanzi suspiciously said. "Shoo, Quiet, listen, there really is a voice, she is still saying, who are you, quickly speak, otherwise I will not be polite. Tang Jing clenched the fruit knife in his hand. I am in your hand. The voice weakly said. In my hand. Tang Jing looked down, in his right hand was a fruit knife, in his left hand was a ginseng. It should not be a fruit knife, his eyes could not help but be attracted by the ginseng. Could it be that this ginseng has become a spirit? Didn't Tian Chanzi say that a 300-year-old ginseng has not become a spirit? Are you a ginseng? Tang Jing asked tentatively. That's me. What? Tang Jing opened his eyes wide. This ginseng has really become a spirit. Tian Chanzi also noticed the strangeness, and hurriedly asked, Little brat, what is going on? Are you talking to this ginseng? Yes, this ginseng has become a spirit. Didn't you say that it is impossible for a 300-year-old ginseng to become a spirit? Tang Jing asked in a bad mood. This Tian Chanzi boasted so much, how could he drop the ball at such a crucial moment? Impossible, how can a 300-year-old ginseng become a spirit? I have seen many 300-year-old ginseng before, but I have never seen or heard of such a situation. Tian Chanzi flatly denied. Hey, ginseng, then speak a bit louder, let this old man also hear. Woo, don't kill me, don't kill me. The voice became clearer, it was a girl's voice, and she was crying. Ginseng even knows how to cry. Tang Jing felt that if he told others about it, they would think he was crazy, but now it was really crying, and crying very sadly. It gave people a kind of heart-wrenching feeling. Did you hear it? Tang Jing asked. I heard it. Tian Chanzi was silent for a moment, and then said in disbelief, What the hell, a 300-year-old ginseng really became a spirit? How is that possible? Don't talk about whether it is possible, what should we do now is the most urgent matter. Tang Jing urged. This was the first time he faced such a difficult problem. Throw it into the alchemy furnace. Do you still need me to teach you this? But it has already become a spirit. Tian Chanzi indifferently said, So what if it has become a spirit? A spirit can also be used in alchemy, and the effects are even better. Didn't I tell you, even those 600-700-year-old ginseng that took human form were caught and refined into alchemy pills? This one of yours only has a little bit of spirituality. Tang Jing swallowed a mouthful of saliva. It had taken human form and was still being pulled into alchemy. It sounded like a living person was being thrown into an alchemy furnace. Just thinking about it made him feel cold all over. It's almost time to add the catalyst. Are you still going to refine it or not? Tian Chanzi urged. Tang Jing was distraught. He was unable to decide what to do. He did not have the mental fortitude of Tian Chanzi. Listening to the pitiful begging voice that lingered in his ears, he really could not do it. There is no other way. There is no other way. Don't tell me you don't want the spirit-gathering pill? Of course I want it. I mean the middle way. We can both refine the spirit-gathering pill and protect this ginseng. Really troublesome. Tian Chanzi impatiently muttered. He thought for a moment, then said, It's not that there is no other way. You can cut off its roots and put them into the alchemy furnace. This can also refine a portion of the spirit-gathering pill, but the effects will be reduced a bit. If I cut off those roots, it won't die, right? Die my ass, how could it die so easily? Life contains the essence of the world. Unless you throw its entire body into the alchemy furnace, it won't die. Hurry up, don't dawdle, otherwise the crucial moment will pass. Alright, then I'll listen to you this time. Oh ginseng, don't cry, I won't kill you, I'll just cut off a bit of your roots. Tang Jing softly comforted. The crying actually came to an abrupt stop. Tang Jing thought it was really amazing. He calmed his mind and carefully cut off the roots. The cut was actually dark red like blood, just like human flesh. Tang Jing was shocked. Tian Chanzi calmly said, Since it has already become a spirit, then it's just like a human, what's there to be surprised about, hurry up. Tang Jing calmed his mind, quickly cut off the roots, and threw them into the 9 revolving alchemy furnace. The flames immediately wrapped around the roots, turning them into a liquid golden color. This golden color immediately drilled into the sphere, causing it to shrink once again. The flames suddenly increased, as if they were about to soar into the air, illuminating the inside of the alchemy furnace, causing it to emit a blue light. The 9 revolving alchemy furnace let out a cry. causing the birds and beasts on the outside to move as if they were alive, causing Tang Jing to be dumbstruck. The 9 revolving alchemy furnace moved, rapidly rotating. Before long, only a blue shadow could be seen. Alright, let's wait for the 9 revolving alchemy furnace to refine by itself, then we'll see the results in 2 hours. Tian Chanzi said. There shouldn't be any problems. This was the first time Tang Jing had used a treasure, so he couldn't help but feel a little nervous. Relax, the 9 revolving alchemy furnace is many times better than the broken furnace you used last time. Since it was successful last time, then there shouldn't be any problems this time. Tian Chanzi said confidently. Tang Jing then turned his attention to the ginseng, discovering that the red color at the end where he cut off the roots had disappeared, becoming the same color as the rest of the ginseng. Why did it change? It has already become a spirit, so the wounds will naturally heal. What's so surprising about this? Tang Jing said that so it was like this, but he didn't know what to do with this spirit ginseng. This time, he had cut off most of its roots, but could it be that he would cut off other parts the next time he refined pills? Tang Jing couldn't bear to do it. What should I do now? Tang Jing could only ask Tian Chanzi for advice. You really don't want to refine it? Tang Jing seriously pondered for a moment, then shook his head. I don't want to, but it would be best if I could refine pills while also preserving its life. You really are overflowing with love, then let me think of a way to get the best of both worlds. Chapter 115. Tian Chanzi really thought of a way to get the best of both worlds, which was to let the ginseng grow and maintain its life. When it was time to refine the spirit-gathering pill, he could cut off its roots. This way, he could maintain a long-term supply. Tang Jing's eyes lit up as he said, Why didn't you say this method earlier? If I refined it in one go, where would I find 300-year-old ginseng in the future? So this method is the best. Tian Chanzi was stunned for a moment. He couldn't help but admit that Tang Jing was right. He had actually overlooked this problem. Heng, you little brat, you just stumbled upon it. Right now, we should first figure out what is going on with this ginseng. I still don't believe that 300 years old ginseng can become a spirit. Something must have happened. Tian Chanzi said. Tang Jing curled his lips. Seeing is believing, this isn't fake, right? Tian Chanzi ignored Tang Jing and fiercely asked, Little ginseng, hurry up and tell me why you became a spirit. If you don't tell me, I will throw you into the 9 revolving pill furnace. Woo woo woo. The ginseng was frightened by the sound of crying. Tang Jing laughed loudly. Tian Chanzi, you are an expert. Look, you scared the ginseng into crying. Tian Chanzi resentfully said, This little ginseng's courage is too small, but if you don't be a bit fierce, how could it tell the truth? TSK, when asking questions, you have to be polite and gentle, understand? Let me give it a try. Tang Jing deliberately attacked Tian Chanzi. Now, he was not afraid of Tian Chanzi. Instead, he would sometimes tease him. The atmosphere was quite good. Ginseng, don't cry. I'm not a bad person. Didn't you hear me? I won't refine you anymore. I will raise you and let you live well. Tang Jing gently said, as if he was a strange uncle trying to trick a little girl. The crying suddenly stopped and a timid voice choked with sobs asked, Really? Of course it's true. Tang Jing patted his chest and guaranteed. But Grandpa said that many humans are very cruel. If they catch us, they will eat us. Grandpa was caught by humans. Ginseng was still in disbelief. They're also good and bad people. Those are all bad people. I'm a good person. I won't eat you, Tang Jing said shamelessly. He had clearly wanted to refine it just now. Good man. The ginseng muttered these 2 words softly, as if trying to understand the meaning. She said, Grandpa seemed to have said that there are good people. Just like us ginseng, there are bad ginseng who steal other ginseng's spiritual energy. Grandpa said that they are bad ginseng. Bad ginseng. Tang Jing laughed involuntarily. There was such a saying. Little brat, don't laugh, this little ginseng isn't wrong. Ginseng is a race, and there are good and bad ones. Some of them absorb the spiritual power of other ginseng to speed up their own cultivation, but this can only be done by a ginseng that can transform into a human form. Tian Chanzi said, not finding it strange. Tang Jing couldn't help but sigh. It seems that ginseng's world is also very complicated. Not only are there external problems, there are also internal problems. Little ginseng, you still haven't answered me. You are only 300 years old, how did you become a spirit? Tian Chanzi asked, unwilling to give up. The ginseng timidly said, this is all because of Grandpa. Before he was caught by humans, he passed on his life's spiritual energy to me. That's why I gained spiritual intelligence. Tian Chanzi suddenly realized, so that's the reason. I said that under normal circumstances, a 300-year-old ginseng can't become a spirit. But even so, it can be seen that your grandpa's cultivation is very high. Otherwise, even if a normal ginseng passed on its spiritual energy to another ginseng, it still wouldn't be able to gain spiritual intelligence. The ginseng could hear that Tian Chanzi was praising its grandpa. It proudly said, my grandpa is the most powerful. Grandpa told me to hide, but I was still caught. All right, now that you have met me, you will be fine. Under my protection, you will be able to grow strong. Tang Jing had never raised a ginseng before. Moreover, it was a 300-year-old ginseng. Just thinking about it made him a little excited. The ginseng hesitated for a moment and said, thank you, Master. In the future, with Master protecting Linger, Linger won't be afraid. Master? Why are you calling me Master? Tang Jing was shocked. Master doesn't eat Linger and is even willing to protect Linger. Linger is of course willing to recognize you as Master. Tang Jing was baffled. He hurriedly asked Tian Chanzi, what's going on? After these spiritual beings become spirits, they do not have the ability to protect themselves. If they do not find a master who can protect them, then they will end up dying. This little ginseng is quite smart. It seems like its grandpa has also increased its intelligence by quite a bit. Since it has recognized you as its master, then just accept it. This is not a big deal, so why make a fuss about it? Tian Chanzi said. Tang Jing took a long time to recover. He had actually become the master. He stared blankly at the ginseng and asked, you are called Ling? Yes, this is the name that Grandpa gave me. Grandpa said that I have grown up and needed a name, so he gave me this name. Linger really likes it. Linger's voice was clear and crisp. It was indeed very likable. All right, since you have recognized me as your master, then I will protect you in the future. But let me say this first. In the future, I will still need to refine spirit-gathering pills. I will also need your roots. You won't mind, right? Tang Jing asked a little embarrassedly. The ginseng had already recognized him as its master, but he still had to use a knife to cut it. It was a little cruel. Unexpectedly, Linger said indifferently, it's just a few roots. Master can use them as he pleases. Moreover, since Linger has recognized Master, then no matter how Master treats Linger, Linger will not have any complaints. Tang Jing let out a sigh of relief. It was good that she did not have any complaints. Tian Chanzi looked at him with disdain and said, look at your useless appearance. It's just a little ginseng. Is there a need to be like this? Even when I subdued my flame dragon beast, I was not like you. Flame dragon beast? Tang Jing opened his eyes wide with interest. This was the first time he had heard of this kind of beast. It's a type of demonic beast. Who knows how many times stronger than a little ginseng like you? It can swallow you in one bite. Then where did your flame dragon beast go? Tian Chanzi said sadly, it died. It died trying to save me. Seeing that he had touched on his sore spot, although Tang Jing was very curious about how strong a demonic beast the flame dragon beast was, he quickly changed the topic. How do you raise this ginseng? It's simple. Find a large flower pot and plant it in it. Keep it in a cool environment. At night, it will automatically absorb the spiritual energy from the moonlight. This way it can grow. It's that simple? Tang Jing was shocked. Wasn't ginseng a very precious treasure? How could it be so easy to raise? It was even simpler than flowers and plants. That's an ordinary ginseng. This little ginseng has spiritual intelligence, so it's not an ordinary ginseng. The most important thing for it is to absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Everything else is not important. Then I'll quickly find a flower pot and plant it. Tang Jing said. Don't be in such a hurry. I haven't finished speaking. Do you want to raise ginseng in this shabby house? So what if it's a shabby house? This is my home. Tang Jing said snappily. I don't mean to make fun of you. It's just that the environment here is not suitable for ginseng. You see, your house doesn't even have a big window. Where can the moonlight shine? So you have to change your house. Change my house. Tang Jing had lived here for 18 years and never felt that there was any problem. So even if he had a few 100,000 yuan, he had never thought of changing his house. However, Tian Chanzi reminded him that now that he had a few 100,000 yuan, he did not need his grandfather to pick up junk every day. His grandfather was old and worked too hard. Now he should be enjoying life. This is an urgent matter. Moreover, your house has a treasure like the 9 revolving alchemy furnace. Aren't you afraid of being robbed? Tian Chanzi reminded. Robbed? Tang Jing looked around. It really could be considered a house with 4 bare walls. He could not help but laugh. Do you think there will be a stupid thief who will visit my house? Tian Chanzi was speechless. Indeed, there was no stupid thief who would visit this place. It's better to be safe than sorry. Haven't you heard of the phrase, prepare for a rainy day? Moreover, if you lose these 2 treasures, you won't even have a place to cry. I forgot one thing. The little ginseng reminded me. It seems that I haven't done this for so many years that I almost forgot. Since you have these 2 treasures, you should go through the master recognition ceremony. Didn't the Linger already recognize me as its master? Tang Jing said, puzzled. That is only a verbal acknowledgement. There is still a ceremony. You have to cut your finger and drip a drop of blood on the little ginseng. That is the true master recognition ceremony. Later on, there will be a connection between the 2 of you. Even if it is stolen, you can use this connection to find it. Tang Jing was overjoyed. There was such a good thing. If there was no Tian Chanzi, then even if he had these treasures, he would be at a loss. After you drip a drop of blood on it, it will not betray you. It will be your servant for life. In addition, when you drip a drop of blood, recite this incantation and it will naturally succeed. There is an incantation. Of course. Otherwise, do you think that if a mortal accidentally drips a drop of blood on these treasures, they will recognize him as their master? How can there be such a good thing? Tang Jing carefully thought about it. It was true. These treasures had been passed around for so many years. If one was not careful, then wouldn't it be possible for them to be stained with blood? Tang Jing used a fruit knife to cut his finger. Dark red blood flowed out. At the same time, he recited an incantation. The qi in his body poured into the drop of blood. The drop of blood fell on top of the ginseng. It was as if the blood had come alive. It quickly spread on the surface of the ginseng and seeped into the insides. It completely disappeared without a trace, as if it had never appeared. Tang Jing's eyes widened as he looked at this scene in amazement. Master, thank you. Linger's voice sounded in his mind. In the future, when you communicate with it, you don't need to speak. Just like with me, you can think directly in your mind. It will naturally respond. Tian Chanzi said. Tang Jing nodded. This was a lot more convenient. I still need to drip a drop of blood on the 9 revolving pill furnace to recognize it as its master. Of course. Tang Jing turned his gaze to the 9 revolving pill furnace. The furnace's rotation had already slowed down. The refining of the spirit pills was about to be completed. He became excited. How many spirit pills would he be able to refine this time? Chapter 116. When the time came, the 9 revolving alchemy furnace stopped rotating and a fragrant smell slowly rose from the furnace, making one feel relaxed and happy. Sogu 360, So-So search. Many golden pills were quietly lying at the bottom of the 9 revolving alchemy furnace. These were obviously spirit-gathering pills. The refining was a success. Tang Jing quickly took out a bottle to collect them. 1, 2, 3, 20 pills. Tang Jing filled 2 bottles and was pleasantly surprised. How did you refine so many pills this time? 20 pills should last for a long time? When he refined the life-continuing pill, he only refined 3 pills, but this time he refined 20 pills. Moreover, the raw materials did not seem to be much. Tian Chanzi said as a matter of fact, "This is the benefit of a magic weapon. If you had used the 9 revolving alchemy furnace to refine the life-continuing pill, you wouldn't have only refined 3 pills." Tang Zheng was like a poor man who suddenly became rich overnight. He was a little excited as he carefully put away the bottles and prepared to drip his blood on the 9 revolving alchemy furnace to recognize it as its master. However, he discovered something strange. "Tian Chanzi, did you notice that the 9 revolving alchemy furnace has become smaller?" Tang Zheng suspiciously asked. Tian Chanzi muttered to himself for a moment before saying, "It is indeed so. This is because the furnace is automatically upgrading." 37. Upgrading? Yes, didn't I tell you that the 9 revolving alchemy furnace can be restored to an earth-level magic weapon in the future? Every time you refine a pill, it will absorb part of the pill's spiritual nature and level up a little. Doesn't that mean that if I use it to refine pills, its level will slowly recover? Tang Zheng was pleasantly surprised. Of course, but it is only a yellow-level magic weapon. The road is still long, so take it slow. Tang Zheng touched the 9 revolving alchemy furnace and felt a cool sensation in his palm. "You said that it is getting smaller and smaller. If it turns into the size of a fist, wouldn't it be easier to carry around?" A high-level alchemy furnace can freely expand and contract. The space inside is beyond your imagination. I even heard that it can form a world of its own. Is it that exaggerated? Tang Zheng was extremely shocked. That's just a legend, but I've never heard of anyone's alchemy furnace forming a world of its own. That's something that can only be looked at but not touched. Brat, don't bite off more than you can chew. You'd better hurry up and bind it with your blood. Tang Zheng followed the previous procedure and dripped his blood onto the 9 revolving pill furnace. With a flash of azure light, he and the 9 revolving pill furnace had a mysterious connection. Even if he closed his eyes, he could still feel the existence of the 9 revolving alchemy furnace. However, the 9 revolving alchemy furnace did not speak like Linga. Now that the soul-amassing pill had been successfully concocted, Tang Zheng was finally able to settle one of his worries. He was not in a hurry to practice martial arts, but instead went to buy a house. This was something new. It was not as easy as practicing martial arts. When he casually walked into a bright and clean sales hall, he did not know what to do. However, his problem was immediately solved because the saleswoman took the initiative to welcome him. Tang Zheng began his journey of buying a house with excitement and novelty. However, there were some people who were not excited at all. In fact, they were quite nervous. Fang Chongguo was sitting outside an office, looking at the people coming and going. His expression was a bit absent-minded. He specifically came to visit Fire Phoenix. After experiencing that night, he hesitated for a few days but still came. Because there was no way to proceed with the demolition, the money was still pouring in. If this real estate project stopped, then he would go bankrupt. His funds were linked to one another. As long as there was a mistake, then he would lose everything. He could not afford to lose. "Manager Fang, our manager Fire invites you in." Fang Chonghua stood up and quickly followed the secretary into the office. Fire Phoenix was standing in front of the huge floor-to-ceiling window overlooking the building. Her eyebrows were slightly wrinkled. No one knew what she was thinking. "Manager Fire, Manager Fang is here," the secretary said. Fire Phoenix turned around. This time, she was not dressed in martial arts clothes. Instead, she had changed into a sand-colored business suit, giving off a white-collar aura. Fang Chonghua already had a new understanding of Fire Phoenix. These past few days, he specifically inquired about Fire Phoenix and Lin Hu's background. If he didn't inquire, then he wouldn't know. Once he inquired, he was shocked. These two people turned out to be ordinary balance, famous big shots in the underworld. This was really beyond his expectation. What made him even more surprised was that Tang Zheng and these big shots actually had such a close personal relationship. This made him both shocked and frightened. In short, his perception of Tang Zheng had undergone an earth-shattering change. Therefore, these past few days, he did not deliberately prevent his daughter from contacting Tang Zheng. Fang Chonghua had been doing business for so many years. Of course, he knew that people in the underworld could not be easily provoked. He also did this before. He stayed away from them and lived in peace. That was because his previous business did not need to deal with these people. Now that he had entered the real estate business, he realized the importance of relationships in the underworld. First of all, this demolition involved relationships in the underworld. He also truly understood why Fire Phoenix's demolition went so smoothly. Because she was a big shot in the underworld. Naturally, she had her ways. Moreover, the follow-up construction involved earth, stone, and other links. It was inevitable that there would be more or less contact with people in the underworld. The water in the real estate business was too deep. In the past, he only envied others for making a lot of money, but he did not consider the risks. Now that one of his feet had fallen in, it would be difficult for him to withdraw. Therefore, he could only hope to have a good relationship with these people. Manager Fong, please sit. Fire Phoenix's heroic spirit converged a lot. She now had a woman's unique elegance. Manager Fong, I heard you want to cooperate with our company? Fong Chonghua nodded his head. Yes, this is the purpose of my visit today. I want to discuss the cooperation with Manager Fire. I have a piece of land that needs to be demolished. Before he could finish his words, Fire Phoenix waved her hand, indicating him to stop. Fong Chonghua blankly looked at her. He did not know what she meant. Fire Phoenix looked at him with a smile that was not a smile. Seeing this, his scalp went numb. He blankly asked, Manager Fire, is there a problem? Do you know Tang Zheng? Fire Phoenix went straight to the point and asked. Fong Chonghua was stunned for a moment. He did not know why she would ask this question. Manager Fire, let's talk about the cooperation first. We can talk about this later. See the guest out. Fire Phoenix said with a cold expression. Fong Chonghua was stunned. What was going on? I didn't even finish speaking and she didn't want to talk about it anymore. Looking at her ice-cold expression, Fong Chonghua felt as if he had fallen into an ice cave. He felt a chill run down his spine. But his reaction was very quick. He immediately realized that Fire Phoenix was more interested in Tang Zheng than business. He felt a huge sense of defeat and hurriedly said, Then let's talk about Tang Zheng first. Fire Phoenix's cold expression disappeared by a lot. She put on an expression of listening attentively. Fong Chonghua's heart was filled with a huge sense of powerlessness as he said, Tang Zheng is an orphan. He was adopted by an old man who scavenged for scraps. He is currently studying at Pengcheng International School. In the past, his grades were very good, but now his grades are very bad. He is the last in the entire school. Fire Phoenix's lips curled up. She did not think that what Tang Zheng said was true. He really was the last in the entire school. Interesting. As for other aspects, he is no different from other people of the same age. Fong Chonghua was also very puzzled about Tang Zheng's situation. On the surface, there was nothing special about him. But why were these powerful people interested in him? Why were the people of the underworld so respectful to him? Even the Fong family was courteous to him. He felt that the world was in complete chaos. He was unable to find north. It's that simple? Fire Phoenix asked with dissatisfaction. This was the result of her investigation. But it clearly did not match the actual situation. It's that simple. Fong Chonghua said. Then do you know what his relationship with Lin Hu is? Fong Chonghua blankly shook his head. If only he knew earlier. But this matter was too strange. How could Tang Zheng be related to people of the underworld? Fire Phoenix could not hide her disappointment as she said, Your daughter is his girlfriend. Don't tell me you don't have any other information? Fong Chonghua revealed a trace of awkwardness as he shook his head. Manager Fong, don't blame me for not teaching you. Not making use of useful resources and rejecting them is not something a businessman should do. That's all I have to say. Please leave. Fire Phoenix finished speaking and returned to her seat. She buried her head in the documents and no longer paid attention to him. Fong Chonghua felt as if he had been paralyzed. His head buzzed as he did not understand why things had turned out this way. Fire Phoenix clearly did not want to cooperate with him. If not for wanting to inquire about Tang Zheng's information, she probably would not have even met with him. He really wanted to get angry. It has been many years since he had been angered like this. But in the end, the wolf had the upper hand. Fire Phoenix was the boss of the underworld. To go against her, he was tired of living. He stood up in a daze. He did not even know how he left the office. Walking on the street, he looked up at the sun. The glaring sunlight made him squint his eyes. But his eyes were still lifeless. He really wanted to roar towards the sky. But he knew that it was useless. He resentfully looked back at Fire Phoenix's office with an indescribable look of dismay. Could it be that this time I really can't pass this hurdle? I have worked hard for most of my life and finally achieved what I have today. Could it be that because of this matter, I will lose everything? He was not willing. But what was the use of this? Fire Phoenix clearly did not want to help him. Who could he look for? Business friends? Don't joke around. Others could not wait for him to be unlucky. In business, there was too much deception. How could there be real friends? Everyone was together because of benefits. If they could hit him while he was down, the other party would definitely not mind ruthlessly stepping on him. Don't blame me for not teaching you. Not making use of useful resources and rejecting them is not something a businessman should do. Fire Phoenix's words suddenly popped up in his mind. He was shocked. These words were not simple. There was a deeper meaning behind them. This useful resource was obviously referring to Tang Zheng. Yes, Fire Phoenix was interested in Tang Zheng. As long as Tang Zheng opened his mouth, Fire Phoenix would definitely agree. Then this stalemate could be broken. Tang Zheng was the person who would break this stalemate. He was like a person walking in the desert who suddenly saw water. Every cell in his body was activated. His brain was unprecedentedly active. His listless eyes gradually brightened up. He wanted to find Tang Zheng. Chapter 117. Fang Chonghua immediately returned home, preparing to have his daughter find Tang Zheng. Shi Mengqin was frightened by his anxious appearance and immediately asked for the reason. These few days, Shi Mengqin's days were not good as her husband was cold to her. Even though she did not think she did anything wrong, she was still cautious, not daring to touch her husband's bad luck. Fang Chonghua did not have time to explain to her and directly asked where his daughter was. Shi Mengqin angrily said, "She was called out by that little brat and no matter what I did, I could not stop her." "Then I'll call her." Fang Chonghua impatiently said. "Right, call her back. She and that little brat together will easily learn bad things. This time she won't even listen to her mother's words. It must be that little brat behind her back, saying bad things about me. Don't speak." Fang Chonghua unhappily stopped her. Shi Mengqin immediately kept quiet out of fear, not knowing why her husband was so angry. It was as if he had eaten gunpowder. Sure, are you with Tang Zheng?" The call connected and Fang Chonghua hurriedly asked. Fang Sure did not hide it. Ever since the two's relationship was made public, she did not plan to hide it. Instead, she openly exposed it in front of her parents. She wanted to create an established fact, letting her parents get used to Tang Zheng's existence. "Where you guys?" "Upwind Water." This was one of Ordinary Balance's buildings. "Okay, you guys wait for me there and don't run around. I'll come find you guys and we'll be there soon." Fang Chonghua finished speaking and walked towards his car. Shi Mengqin's eyebrows jumped and said with interest, "I'll also go. I want to see what this little brat is up to." "Mengqin, let me tell you, when you see Tang Zheng, you must have a good attitude." Fang Chonghua stopped and solemnly warned. "What?" Shi Mengqin was flabbergasted. "Aren't we going to denounce him and bring Sure back?" "Who said we're going to denounce him? We have a request for Tang Zheng, so we must have a good attitude. You never gave him a good face, so this time you must perform well and reverse the bad impression." Fang Chonghua was filled with regret. The current situation was all caused by his own family. He had personally pushed Tang Zheng to the opposite side. Shi Mengqin blankly looked at her husband. What was going on? Her mind was completely unable to react. "Get in the car. Don't dawdle. Remember what I told you." Fang Chonghua had already started the car. Only then did Shi Mengqin absent-mindedly sit in the car, still feeling dizzy. The car sped to Shangfeng Shui, and the two of them finally saw Tang Jing and Fang Shishir in the sales hall. Looking at the two of them from afar, Mr. and Mrs. Fang were guessing what they were doing here. It was a novel idea to arrange a date here. Of course, Tang Jing was here to buy a house. He still had 700,000 yuan, which was just enough to buy a small house. However, he had already seen a few buildings. Although the sales lady had said a lot, he still hadn't made up his mind. Houses had always been the most important commodity for the people of the country. This was the place to settle down, so it must be carefully selected. Tang Jing also did not have any experience, so in the end he decided to call Fang Shishir over. In this aspect she was a bit more knowledgeable. Although the sales lady saw that the two of them looked like high school students, she still did not look down on them. In this society, there were many low-key rich people. Although they were young, their families were rich. Who knows, if they were in a good mood they might just buy a house. Tang Jing listened until his head was spinning. He discovered that buying a house was much more difficult than cultivating. On the contrary, Fang Shishir listened with great interest. From time to time, she would ask a few questions, but she was always able to get to the point. This made the sales lady feel that the other party was not here to play around. Tang Jing saw Fang Shishir and Shi Mengqin from afar. He pursed his lips at Fang Shishir, causing her expression to become a bit awkward. After all, the relationship between her boyfriend and her family was really bad. Shishir, what are you two doing here? Fang Chonghua asked with a smile. His smile was as amiable as possible, causing Tang Jing to be stunned. Did the sun rise from the west? Little Tang, how are you? I haven't seen you for a few days. How are your injuries? Fang Chonghua asked with concern. It's already healed. Tang Jing suspiciously looked at him. If things were abnormal, then there must be a demon. He did not dare to lower his guard. Young people's bodies are really good. They recover quickly. What are you two doing? Buying a house. The Fang couple were both shocked. They knew that with Tang Jing's family conditions, how could he buy a house? Shi Mengqin's heart moved. Her face immediately became gloomy. She believed that Tang Jing must have instigated Fang Shishir to buy a house for him. No wonder he called her over. It was truly a good plan. How long had it been and he was already eyeing the Fang family's property? He was truly too despicable. The anger in Shi Mengqin's heart immediately flared up. After losing her wolf, she had completely forgotten her husband's warning. She angrily said, Tang Jing, you are young yet you don't learn well. You actually beat around the bush and think of ways to take my family's property. You are too vicious. Could it be that you learned this in school? No wonder your grades are so bad and you are the last in school. Once these words were spoken, the entire room was silent. Even the sales lady could not help but look at Tang Jing. Was this true? This boy looked so delicate and pretty, how could he be so despicable? Tang Jing froze for a moment. His face also sank. The feeling of being framed was not good. Moreover, Shi Mengqin had repeatedly believed that he was together with Fang Shishir for the Fang family's property. This was unbearable. You are not only insulting me, you are also insulting your daughter. Do you understand? Tang Jing's tone became even more serious. You still dare to twist words and resort to sophistry. I will let everyone see your true face. Don't think that I don't know what you are thinking. Shi Mengqin became more and more energetic as she spoke. Fang Shishir was so angry that her entire body trembled. She was both heartbroken and angry. Why couldn't her own mother support her? Why did she have to oppose her and even insult Tang Jing like this? Mom, how can you be like this? This is not what you think. It is Tang Jing who wants to buy a house with his own money. Where does he have the money? Do you think that he can rely on his grandfather who picks up junk to earn money to buy a house? What a joke. He will definitely make you pay in the end. You silly girl. Shi Mengqin continued to ridicule. You shut up. Suddenly, Fang Chonghua loudly roared as he angrily stared at his wife. He wished that he could skin her alive. He came to ask for help from Tang Jing, but not only did she not help, she even added fuel to the fire. This time he was truly finished. Chonghua, what I said was the truth. We must guard against this little brat's sinister intentions. Shi Mengqin continued to blabber on but saw a palm flying towards her. A crisp slap sounded out and her voice came to an abrupt stop. Shi Mengqin was dumbstruck as she stood there like a wooden puppet. She simply could not believe what had just happened. Fang Chonghua slapped her. He was her husband and had never hit her before. This was the first time. Fang Chonghua's face became the color of pig liver. His lungs were about to explode from anger. Everyone else was also stunned, especially the sales lady. From the start, she could tell that this couple was rich because they came out of the luxurious car outside. But the key point was what was going on. The wife was shouting herself hoarse and criticizing the little handsome boy while the husband was flustered and exasperated as he slapped her. Even acting in a movie did not have such ups and downs. Dad? Fang Shishir stared at her father. Don't listen to her nonsense. She doesn't understand anything. Fang Chonghua said with a lingering anger. Shi Mengqin finally came back to her senses. The pain on her face was very clear. This was not a dream but reality. She said with fear and anger, Fang Chonghua, you actually dare to hit me. Shut up. Do you think you haven't lost enough face? Fang Chonghua roared. Shi Mengqin saw an unprecedented anger on her husband's face. Her heart trembled as she finally felt a bit of fear. She did not dare to speak again. Dad, don't be so fierce. It's so scary. If you have something to say it properly. Fang Shishir advised but still felt as if she was in the clouds. Fang Chonghua squeezed out a smile at his daughter and said, if only your mother was as reasonable as you. Then he looked at Tang Zheng and made his tone as amiable as possible and said, Tang Zheng, don't be angry at her. She is used to being unreasonable. Tang Zheng did not bat an eyelid as he had already seen some clues. Last time, Fang Chonghua did not have such a good attitude towards him. There must be a reason for this 180-degree change. Seeing Tang Zheng not say a word, Fang Chonghua squeezed out a smile that was uglier than crying and said, you want to buy a house, right? You don't need to waste your money. Our family still has a few houses. You can choose one to live in. Well, everyone else was shocked. Just now, Shi Mengqin was still saying that Tang Zheng was doing this for the Fang family's property. Now, she took the initiative to give him a house. This change was just too big. Tang Zheng suddenly stared blankly at Fang Chonghua. He did not come back to his senses as he stared blankly at Fang Chonghua. The sales lady stared at this group of people as if they were aliens. This little handsome brother's charm was just too great. He did not even conquer his mother-in-law and instead conquered his father-in-law. Moreover, from the looks of it, his father-in-law seemed to be trying to curry favor with him. But didn't they just say that this little handsome brother's family was poor? Could it be that the world has changed and the poor are now so popular that the rich like to give to the poor? In short, this change made everyone present feel that it was inconceivable. Shi Mengqin clearly wanted to flip out but was afraid of her husband's anger, so she did not dare to speak. In the corner of the sales hall, a graceful figure looked at this scene with interest. It was hard to hide the shock on her face, but there was also a trace of anger in her eyes as her gaze focused on Tang Zheng. This person was Lu Qingmei. She hatefully thought, Tang Zheng, you actually dared to lie to me. You said that you were taking a leave of absence to recuperate at home. This lively appearance, where does it look like you are recuperating? Moreover, you came to buy a house with Fang Shishir and so many things have happened. I think you just want to avoid your promise with me and not participate in the monthly exam. Just you wait, I will definitely take care of you. Tang Zheng never would have thought that he would bump into Lu Qingmei when he came to buy a house because she was also buying a house. Chapter 118. Lu Qingmei had only been in ordinary balance for a little over a year, and now that the rent was about to expire, she was preparing to buy a house. Today, she finally had a month off and came to look at houses. She never thought that she would run into Tang Zheng and Fang Shishir. She was not in a hurry to greet them and instead deliberately hid in a corner to observe the two. She was very curious as to why they were looking at a house. It couldn't be that they were going to live together so quickly. Even if they were living together, they couldn't possibly buy a house. Therefore, she planned to wait and see what the two were going to do. She never thought that she would see such an unforeseen event and be stunned. When she heard Fang Chonghua say that he was going to gift a house to Tang Jing, Lu Qingmei's eyebrows knitted together. The words of a rich person were not as simple as the literal meaning. Moreover, Fang Chonghua was one of the board members of Pengqing International School. She had heard that he was not a kind person who would casually gift a house to someone. Moreover, it was rumored that the Fang family was very opposed to the relationship between Tang Jing and Fang Shishir. This could be seen from Shi Mingqin's reaction just now. But the key was Fang Chonghua's attitude. Why did he tempt Tang Jing with benefits? Lu Qingmei did not think that Fang Chonghua was bored enough to tease Tang Jing. It was very clear that Fang Chonghua was serious. She could not understand all of this. Tang Jing also could not understand, but he understood the other party. This change from arrogance to respect was too great, causing him to be somewhat on guard. He lightly said, "I appreciate your good intentions, but I have the money to buy a house myself. Don't misunderstand, I really want to gift it to you. I also have a house here in Upper Wind Mountain that has been renovated a long time ago. Now that I'm giving it to you, it can be considered as making the best use of it and not wasting it." Seeing Tang Jing refuse, Fang Chonghua was secretly astonished and began to value him even more. If he was able to withstand this kind of temptation, was he still a normal person? What he did not know was that Tang Jing was taught by his grandfather to not accept a reward without any effort. Of course, he would not accept the other party's gift for no reason. Fang Shishir looked at her father curiously, but she didn't think too much about it. She just thought that her father was trying to ease his relationship with Tang Jing, which was what she looked forward to the most. Therefore, she tugged at Tang Jing's hand and whispered, "My father means well. Just accept it. This kindness is too precious." Tang Jing refused. He always felt that Fang Chonghua's change was a little strange. If it was because of the last meal, it would not have been delayed until now. All in all, Tang Jing would not accept this kind of kindness without knowing the ins and outs of the matter. When the saleswoman saw Tang Jing reject her, she really wanted to say that if you don't want to give it to me, I will definitely go crazy with joy. However, she also looked at Tang Jing even more curiously. Tang Jing had become the center of attention, but he didn't show the slightest difference. He just looked at Fang Chonghua thoughtfully. Fang Chonghua had a troubled look on his face. He thought for a moment and said, "Tang Jing, can you come out and talk to me alone?" Tang Jing agreed. "Shishir, look after your mother," Fang Chonghua ordered. Fang Shishir nodded and gave Tang Jing an encouraging look. She whispered, "Have a good talk with my father. I don't think he is against our relationship anymore. You have to seize this opportunity." Tang Jing nodded calmly and followed Fang Chonghua out of the sales hall. Fang Chonghua took out a cigarette and lit it. He took a deep breath and saw Tang Jing come over. He passed the cigarette to him, but Tang Jing shook his head and refused. "It's good that you don't smoke. Smoking is bad for your health." Fang Chonghua put the cigarette back in his pocket. His eyes narrowed slightly as he hid behind the light smoke. His expression was somewhat dignified. Tang Jing also chose to remain silent and looked into the distance. "Do you really like my daughter?" Fang Chonghua blew out a smoke ring and finally spoke. Tang Jing nodded heavily, "I really do." Fang Chonghua looked at him through the smoke ring and said, "I haven't seen a young man like you in many years. Persistent and fearless. It is difficult for outside people or things to affect your decisions." Tang Jing's lips curled up slightly. "Perhaps this is my temper. I can't change it. You have to know that we are Shishir's parents. The matter between the two of you will ultimately require our approval." Tang Jing's eyes narrowed slightly as he looked at Fang Chonghua. He did not say a word and seemed to be thinking about what to say. In that moment, Fang Chonghua saw many things in his swollen eyes. There was a little frivolity and a strong confidence. This confidence was something that even he did not have. In the end, humans would always have fear and scruples. Therefore, although he kept saying that he was confident, it was very difficult for him to really be confident. However, Fang Chonghua could see that confidence in his pair of black eyes. Tang Jing did not seem to take the difficulty that Fang Chonghua mentioned seriously. It was as if he could do it if he wanted to. Fang Chonghua had to admit that he was shaken by his pair of eyes. Of course, he did not know where Tang Zheng's confidence came from. His confidence came from the secrets he possessed. He was already a cultivator, and compared to mortals, he was a person from a different world. Although his cultivation was not very high, his horizons were already extraordinary. This was definitely not because he was looking at the top of his head or biting off more than he could chew. The matter between me and Shirshir, I will always believe that it is between the two of us. Even if others have a little opinion, as long as the two of us do not have any opinion, then this matter will not be a problem. Tang Jing said softly. He was not in a rush, but his confidence was truly emitted. Fang Chonghua took a deep breath. Only now did he truly face Tang Zheng. He also understood why Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix valued him so much. He really had the ability to match them. But if her family does not object, then wouldn't this matter be icing on the cake? Fang Chonghua asked. Tang Jing did not comment. Moreover, Shirshir will care about our attitude. If you really like her, then you should care about her feelings, don't you think so? Tang Zheng could not deny that with Fang Shirshir's personality, she would ultimately care about her parents' attitude. So before, I tried to make you accept her, but you ignored me. Tang Jing did not know why the other party had changed so much today. Since the other party had mentioned this point, he might as well open up the problem. That's right. In the past, we did ignore you and even provoked you, but it's undeniable that parents want their daughters to have a good home. With the conditions you showed in the past, of course, we thought that you and Shirshir are not suitable. The good home? Tang Zheng snorted. Your so-called good home is money and power? Have you ever thought about the opinion of the person involved? Does she like money or power? You might say that when she is a little older, she will understand your good intentions, but I want to say that this is all bullshit. Tang Zheng and Tian Chanzi had been together for a long time, and occasionally liked to spew out one or two vulgarities. When two people are together, the most important thing is that they like each other. External conditions are secondary. Only when the heart is the same, then they will truly be together. Moreover, if a man truly loves a woman, he will not be lazy, but will do everything possible to make her happy. Therefore, in the end, this woman will obtain love and material things together, and will not become a puppet enslaved by material things. Boy, well said. I did not expect you to have a talent for speech. Tian Chanzi excitedly praised. If he was given a pair of hands, he would definitely clap until his palms turned red. Fang Chonghua looked at him in a daze and muttered, I did not expect you to have so many life experiences at such a young age. You are not simple. I have already seen you in a new light, so things will change. I will not stop you and Shirshir from doing things together. Let nature take its course. These words were not perfunctory words to Tang Zheng, but the truth. In the past, he opposed Tang Jing because he felt that Tang Jing could not bring happiness to his daughter. But now, this was no longer a problem, so why not consider his daughter's feelings? It has to be said that the success of Fang Chonghua's business was not by chance, and it was inseparable from his ability to make decisions. Since he recognized Tang Zheng's ability, then he would choose to make the corresponding decision. Tang Zheng looked at him in astonishment. Only now did he properly examine the other party. Although he and Shi Mengqin were husband and wife, they were not the same type of people. Shi Mengqin really despised the poor and loved the rich, but Fang Chonghua clearly had more inner qualities. Thank you, I will treat Shirshir well. Tang Zheng solemnly promised. This was a man's promise, and it would never change. Fang Chonghua smiled, and with a flick of his finger, the extinguished cigarette flew into the trash can. Today I have said so much to you, so I am a lot more relaxed. But I still have to tell you one thing in advance, so that in the future you won't think that I am two-faced and deliberately playing tricks. What is it? After Shirshir graduates, she will go abroad to study. This is something that I have already arranged, and it is not because of you. I hope you can understand. Fang Chonghua was speaking the truth. Go abroad? Tang Zheng was startled. Going abroad was something that was unattainable for him in the past, so he had never thought about it. But Pengcheng International School had many such precedents. After all, they were all children from rich families, and most of them liked to go abroad to study. Even if their results were not good, they liked to go abroad to plaster a layer of gold and come back as a turtle. You have to know that the education resources abroad are more abundant. I want Shirshir to receive the best education, so this is the only way. Fang Chongwa explained, if you really like her, then you should let her go and let her obtain more and become better, and not just keep her by your side. I think this is true love. Tang Zheng was speechless. Fang Chongwa's words were indeed reasonable, but he had never thought that after graduation, they would go their separate ways, and even be separated by thousands of miles. Actually, Shirshir also wanted to go abroad before, and this was also her idea. But with my understanding of her, she definitely doesn't want to go abroad now, and wants to be with you. Fang Chongwa clearly understood his daughter very well. I know it is very difficult for you to accept this, so I don't need you to make a decision now. You can think about what is the best situation for Shirshir, and give me an answer after you graduate. Tang Zheng nodded with mixed feelings. Fang Shirshir had never told him that she wanted to go abroad, and it seemed that he had neglected her thoughts before. Now let's talk about another matter. Fang Chongwa said. Chapter 119. The reason why I gave you this house is because I need your help. Fang Chongwa decided not to beat around the bush as it would be easier for them to communicate. Sure enough, Tang Jing curiously asked, "What's the matter?" "My company has a problem and I need Fire Phoenix's help to get through this hurdle, so I want you to help me." "You want me to go and plead with Fire Phoenix?" "I'm afraid I don't have that much face. I've only met her once." Tang Jing disagreed. Fang Chongwa shook his head. "You're still underestimating your own strength. Although I don't know why you're valued by these big shots, I believe you can do it. If I can't get through this hurdle, then I will go bankrupt and lose everything." Tang Jing suspiciously looked at the other party, not knowing if these words were true or false. Fang Chongwa met his gaze and did not avoid it, appearing very open and aboveboard. "If I go bankrupt, then there will definitely be people chasing after me. At that time, even Shirshir won't have the money to go abroad to study." Tang Jing said that it would be better if she didn't go abroad, but he wasn't that selfish. The other party's meaning was very clear. If he went bankrupt, then Shirshir's life would not be guaranteed. Fang Shirshir had lived a life of luxury since young. If her family fell, then it would make her very sad and she wouldn't be able to adapt to the life of hiding from debt. As Fang Shirshir's boyfriend, Tang Jing naturally didn't want to see this happen. Tang Jing subconsciously wanted to avoid Fire Phoenix, but this time there was no other way. He muttered, "Okay, I'll help you. I don't need your house. I'm doing this for Shirshir." Fang Chongwa smiled. "I really didn't misjudge you. You're really doing this for Shirshir's sake. But I still want to give you the house. This is what you deserve. If you accept it, then I'll feel at ease. Moreover, you also heard Shirshir's words. If you don't accept it, then she won't be happy." Tang Jing turned around to look at Fang Shirshir. He found that she was smiling at him and winking at him, encouraging him. His heart skipped a beat and he said, "Okay, I'll accept it." He was a straightforward person. Moreover, in the eyes of others, a house worth several 100,000 gold coins was very expensive, but in his eyes, it wasn't that expensive. After all, he was someone who was willing to give away a priceless treasure like the life-continuing pill for free. Fang Chongwa heaved a sigh of relief. Only when Tang Zheng accepted the house would he truly believe that Tang Zheng would help him. Only then would the conflict between them truly be resolved. Don't take her mother's words to heart. Sometimes she just doesn't think before she speaks. Tang Jing shrugged. Since they had turned hostility into friendship, he still had the magnanimity to forgive others. When the two of them walked in, everyone looked over, not knowing how the discussion went. Shi Mengqin really wanted to know the result, but in the end, she did not dare to speak nonsense. "We're not buying a house anymore." "I'm sorry," Tang Jing said apologetically to the sales lady. The sales lady gave a professional smile and said that it was fine. "You promised my father?" Fang Shirshir intimately hugged his arm and asked. Tang Jing nodded his head. "Wah, you really are too good." Fang Shirshir excitedly hugged his arm even tighter, rubbing her chest, causing Tang Jing's spirit to sway. If not for the fact that there were so many people, perhaps Fang Shishir would have directly kissed him. However, the deep affection in her eyes could be seen by anyone. His character is strong, so he must have agreed to accept this house for my sake. He really is good to me. Fang Shishir sweetly thought. Let's go, we'll go home to get the keys and property certificate. Afterwards, we'll go to the Housing Management Bureau to complete the procedures. Fang Chonghua said. Several people walked out, leaving behind pairs of envious eyes. In their hearts, they wondered why they did not have such good luck to find a rich family's daughter. Lu Qingmei's eyebrows tightly knit as she watched the luxurious car drive away. She muttered to herself, Tang Zheng is actually this kind of person who climbs up the social ladder. I really misjudged him. Clearly, she believed that Tang Zheng had taken a fancy to this house. As for why Fang Chonghua was so good to Tang Zheng, she was unable to guess the reason. After taking the procedures and going to the Housing Management Bureau to complete the transfer procedures, this 90-square-meter two-room apartment in Shangfeng Shangshui would be Tang Zheng's. Xi Mingqin's gaze towards Tang Zheng also changed because she already knew from her husband that Tang Zheng was related to the survival of the Fang family. If Tang Zheng did not help, then her life as a rich lady would come to an end. Xi Mingqin was a realistic person, and the most important thing for a realistic person was to clearly distinguish between the pros and cons. Since Tang Zheng was so important, then she had to do everything possible to win him over. Even if she still had a knot in her heart, she would do her best to not show it on her face. Thus, Tang Zheng's situation was much better. He could openly sit with Fang Shishir in the back. Fang Shishir was leaning against him and no one else had any complaints. Tang Zheng, tomorrow I'll help you move. Fang Shishir excitedly said. Tomorrow I'll first accompany your father to do some things before moving. No problem, I'll first go to your house to pack your things. Okay. Tang Zheng did not refuse. Tang Zheng, do you need a car to move? Tomorrow I'll call the driver to help you. No need, I don't have many things so I can do it myself. Tang Zheng did not wish for outsiders to discover the 9 revolving pill furnace and ginseng, these 2 treasures, so he rejected the others' good intentions. Fang Chonghua also did not force him. As night fell, Tang Zheng sat on his bed and looked up at the small room. He had lived here for 18 years and really had deep feelings for it. He had memories of everything here. In the future, these memories would have to be sealed away. He was really reluctant to part with them. Tang Dehai was even more reluctant than him. This was the home he had lived in for most of his life. Every brick and tile had his traces. Suddenly leaving here, in addition to reluctance, there was also a sense of unreality. When he heard Tang Zheng talk about this matter, he felt that it was inconceivable. He thought that he would live here for the rest of his life and even die of old age here. But now that his grandson was being filial to him and was letting him live in a bright and clean high-rise building, he felt gratified but also a little sad. In short, his emotions were very complicated, but he could not drag his grandson down. If his grandson wanted to live in a high-rise building, then he would live there. For his grandson, he was willing to do anything and was willing to give up anything. Of course, he also asked how the new house came about. Tang Zheng did not hide anything and said that Fang Shishir's father had a favor to ask of him, so he gave it to him. Tang Dehai only reminded him that a man should be independent and did not blame him for accepting the house because he understood that he was a director. Tang Zheng was a director, and since Tang Zheng did this, there must be a reason. Tang Zheng had really grown up and had the ability. Many things he would only provide a little reference and advice, and would not criticize. This simple and honest old man had always thought that he did not read much and did not have much ability, so he could only peacefully watch Tang Zheng grow up. There was no need for him to interfere too much with Tang Zheng's growth because there were many things that he could not do. Tang Zheng was lucky to have such a grandfather. He also understood the deep meaning in his grandfather's eyes, so he was very touched. Through the door, he heard the sound of his grandfather tossing and turning in bed. His heart was also a little confused. Finally, he collected his thoughts and took out a spirit-gathering pill. Even in the darkness, the spirit-gathering pill emitted a faint golden luster. The spirit-gathering pill melted in his mouth, turning into a warm current that flowed down his throat and into his 8 extraordinary meridians. A powerful spiritual energy exploded from within his body, and his 5 viscera, 6 bowels, 4 limbs, and hundreds of bones all had a particularly shocking feeling. Circulate the ancient clear heaven scroll. This spirit-gathering pill not only contains abundant spiritual energy, it can also gather more spiritual energy from heaven and earth, increasing your cultivation speed. Tian Chanzi's voice sounded. Tang Jing closed his eyes, and with a thought, the ancient clear heaven scroll quietly circulated. The spiritual energy scattered all over his body quickly divided into 2, one to his dantian and the other to his sea of consciousness. At the same time, the spiritual energy between heaven and earth quickly gathered towards him. Although the spiritual energy between heaven and earth was thin, with the effect of the spirit-gathering pill, the spiritual energy within a kilometer radius was like a gathering of soldiers. It quickly flew towards the house, penetrated the walls, passed through Tang Zheng's body, and gathered in his dantian and sea of consciousness. In the darkness, no one noticed this change, because ordinary people simply could not perceive the existence of spiritual energy. However, animals and plants were more sensitive than humans. Many small animals quickly moved closer to the house. In the darkness, they stared with bright eyes, raised their heads, opened their mouths, and constantly absorbed the spiritual energy. Under normal circumstances, these animals absorbed spiritual energy very slowly, but now the spiritual energy around Tang Zheng's house had reached a nearly saturated state. After all the spiritual energy within a kilometer radius was gathered here, and even the air felt a little sticky. The wildflowers and weeds in the corners of the house grew much faster, and a subtle change occurred. Tang Zheng was unaware of the changes in the outside world. He was immersed in his own world. The spiritual energy in his dantian quickly gathered and formed a mass of air. This was his true qi. The true qi rapidly rotated, like a whirlpool, attracting more and more spiritual energy. In his sea of consciousness, the light purple first-grade true fire was shining brightly. After absorbing the spiritual energy, the flame clearly became a bit taller, burning more vigorously, and its color became brighter. The entire sea of consciousness became a light purple color and looked particularly mysterious. Time passed little by little, from night to day. When dawn arrived, he stopped cultivating. The flame in his sea of consciousness was still burning vigorously, and the flame had returned to its original height, but its color was a little brighter. The true qi whirlpool in his dantian also quickly dissipated and walked through the 9 main meridians. It had reached 4 inches and 6 parts. In one night he had increased his true qi by 6 parts. Tian Chanzi was speechless. If other people took the spirit-gathering pill, they would only increase their true qi by 2 or 3 parts, but he had increased it by 6 parts. It was simply incomparable. However, Tian Chanzi had already adapted to Tang Zheng's abnormal speed and was not surprised. Tang Zheng was very happy. The spirit-gathering pill was indeed a miraculous elixir, and its effect was too obvious. If he took one every day, wouldn't his cultivation soar? The spirit-gathering pill's effect is of course good, but it can't be taken every day. Use it once every 10 days. Otherwise, your body won't be able to withstand such a rapid increase in true qi. You need to let your body adapt. Tian Chanzi immediately poured cold water on him. Tang Zheng was not depressed. If he took one every 10 days, his cultivation speed would be very fast, and even a bit abnormal. He was secretly happy for a moment, and continued to observe the changes in his body. The true qi in his 9 main meridians had increased, and the pure yang power had also increased. His body temperature had unknowingly risen. Chapter 120. Tang Zheng and Fang Chonghua once again arrived at Fire Phoenix's company but were blocked outside by the secretary, who tactfully said that Fire Phoenix was busy and would not be receiving guests. She had already recognized Fang Chonghua and refused to be a guest. Fang Chonghua secretly sighed, as it was fortunate that he brought Tang Zheng, otherwise he would not even be able to see Fire Phoenix's face. Thus he let the secretary pass on the message to Fire Phoenix that Tang Jing had come to pay a visit. The secretary suspiciously looked at the two and went back in. Not long after, she came out and looked at Tang Jing with astonishment as she did not expect him to have such a big face. "Young Master Tang, Manager Fong, Fire Phoenix invites you in." The secretary's attitude was clearly much more respectful. Fong Chonghua bitterly smiled as he looked at Tang Jing as his face was still bigger. Pushing open the door and entering, Fire Phoenix had already welcomed them and warmly welcomed them. "Young Master Tang, Manager Fong, welcome. There are many things to do in the company, so I've made the two of you wait." Fong Chonghua did not speak as it was clear that Tang Jing was more welcomed, so he let him speak. Tang Jing calmly said, "Fire Phoenix is too polite. We suddenly came to visit and have disturbed you. Young Master Tang, I don't like what you're saying. For you to be able to pull in my small plot of land is my honor. You must think highly of me, Fire Phoenix." Fire Phoenix straightforwardly said as she clearly had a bit more of a Jianghu aura, which was very different from her previous white-collar temperament. Fong Chonghua tacitly understood as Fire Phoenix was using the Jianghu style to interact with Tang Jing. It was clearly much more cordial compared to the business world. Could it be that Tang Jing has also become a Jianghu person? Fong Chonghua secretly wondered. The few of them sat down on the sofa as the secretary served tea. She could not help but look at Tang Jing a few more times as Fire Phoenix rarely treated people like this. "Your side is quite unique," Tang Jing praised as although Fire Phoenix was a Jianghu person, she was clearly a level higher than Linhu. Her business was neither black nor white and had a bit of gray temperament, but it was much better than Linhu's business. Take this construction company for example. At least from the outside, it looked like a proper company. As for how many underlings the company had, that was not something outsiders knew. "Young Master Tang, you flatter me. This is just a small matter. Now that brother who has taken over Boss Fan's territory, I can't compare to him." Fire Phoenix waved her hand and said modestly, "You're not the same as him. Your focus is also different. I heard that your company is the leader in this field. How many people are looking forward to cooperating with Chief Hua?" Tang Jing lightly said. Fire Phoenix looked at Fong Chonghua with a smile that was not a smile and said, "Young Master Tang, you flatter me. This is all because everyone is giving face. Everyone is picking up materials with high flames. Boss Hua, to tell you the truth, I came here today because I have something to ask of you." After the greetings, Tang Jing went straight to the point. "Oh, what's the matter, young Master Tang?" Fire Phoenix asked knowingly. Tang Jing pointed at Fong Chonghua and said, "This is Uncle Fong. Chief Hua has already met him. Uncle Fong's real estate company needs Chief Hua's assistance in the demolition. What does Chief Hua think?" Tang Jing was not sure if the other party would agree to his request. After all, the two had only met once. If Fire Phoenix was really curious about him, then it was true. But whether or not she would give him face, he was not sure in his heart. Fong Chonghua continued to say, "Chief Hua, since we are cooperating with your company, we will definitely not treat your company unfairly. Moreover, Chief Hua has helped me this time. This Fong will definitely remember it in my heart." On Fire Phoenix's face hung an unfathomable smile, making it impossible for others to see through her thoughts. She looked at Tang Jing with a burning gaze and said, "Young Master Tang, since you have such a good relationship with Director Fong, I will definitely help you. But if I have any trouble in the future, can young Master Tang lend me a hand?" Fong Chonghua immediately looked at Tang Jing. He really did not understand what Fire Phoenix's power would require Tang Jing's help in. But Fire Phoenix was clearly not joking. Moreover, she deliberately let him lead Tang Jing here, as if to obtain this promise. Tang Jing thoughtfully looked at the other party. He really could not understand Fire Phoenix's thoughts. According to Lin Hu's words, Fire Phoenix was able to support such a large business all these years. She was definitely not an ordinary person. Whether it was her temperament or her methods, she could be considered outstanding. What does she need my help with? Tang Jing's eyebrows lightly jumped and said, "Chief Hua, your fame is widespread. Why would you need my help?" Fire Phoenix chuckled, picked up the teacup and took a sip. She said neither too fast nor too slow, People will have their highs and lows. I am just an ordinary woman, so I am not an exception. Don't look at my current glory. Who knows when I will be in dire straits? So when that time comes, I hope young Master Tang will remember today's kindness and help me, Fire Phoenix, along. Since she had already said this much, if Tang Jing still did not agree, then there would be no need to continue the discussion. Tang Jing knew the situation, so he nodded without hesitation. Since Chief Hua thinks so highly of me, then I will naturally remember today's kindness. Then I will first thank young Master Tang. Fire Phoenix was completely satisfied as she said with a smile. Feng Chonghua let out a sigh of relief, but he was also somewhat depressed. All his efforts were in vain, but Tang Jing only gave Fire Phoenix a promise. There was nothing substantial, but the problem was easily solved. He really understood the essence of the phrase, comparing yourself to others will only make you angry. Young Master Tang, after that night, Brother Hu and I talked about many things. I wonder if young Master Tang is interested in having a private chat with me? Fire Phoenix probed. She had always been observing Tang Jing and had always been probing him. For such an unfathomable person to appear in the ordinary balance, she had no choice but to be careful. This was her usual practice for the past 10 years. If she did not rely on this cautiousness, then she would have already left this world. Feng Chonghua awkwardly looked at Tang Jing, not knowing whether or not he should withdraw. It was better for him to know less about matters of the underworld. Unexpectedly, Tang Jing shook his head and said, "Since Brother Hu wants to discuss with you, then it is better for the two of you to know. I will not participate. Moreover, I am about to take the college entrance exam, so I do not have much time to deal with other matters." Fire Phoenix looked at this serious face and felt a sense of absurdity. Such a mysterious youth was actually still in high school. Moreover, he was preparing for the college entrance exam. She, as a delinquent girl, found it hard to understand. Young Master Tang really loves to study. There is no other way. You also know that I am last place. If I do not put in some effort, then I am afraid that I will not even be able to pass the college entrance exam. That would not be good. Tang Jing sighed. With young Master Tang's strength, even if you do not study, you will still be able to make those famous university students work under young Master Tang. I do not have that strength. Moreover, knowledge is the primary productive force. A person should read more books. Tang Jing was now a cultivator. According to reason, he should just concentrate on his cultivation. However, he did not do so. Not only was he working hard to prepare for the college entrance exam, but he was also preparing to do well. This was not only for his grandfather, but also for himself. In a person's life, the most important thing was experience. If one did not experience it, then it would always be a regret. But since he had this opportunity, how could he give it up? Fire Phoenix did not understand his mentality but did not continue to persuade him. She only smiled and sighed. Young Master Tang is indeed more insightful than a crude person like me. In the future, I hope to be able to interact more with young Master Tang and let me be a little bit cultured. Tang Jing smiled and said, "If I can interact more with young Master Fire, I will definitely benefit a lot." Then it settled. "Young Master Tang, do you mind leaving your contact information?" Fire Phoenix said. Tang Jing gave her a number and Fire Phoenix dialed it on the spot. Tang Jing's phone rang. His old phone had completed its historical mission. Now he had a new smartphone that cost $1,000. It was much better than his old one. Tang Jing wrote down Fire Phoenix's number and got up to leave. "Young Master Fire, I still have some matters to attend to, so I will be leaving first. Let's chat again next time." Fire Phoenix shook her phone and mysteriously smiled. "Okay, let's chat again next time. Uncle Feng, I will be going back first. You and young Master Fire can discuss the matter of cooperation," Tang Jing said. Feng Chonghua said with satisfaction, "If there is anything you need, give me a call." Fire Phoenix sent Tang Jing to the door and affectionately shook hands with him. Only then did Tang Jing leave and go straight home. Feng Shishir had already gone to his house to pack up his things. He had to hurry back. When he got home, he found that many things had already been packed. Tang Dehai and Fong Shishi's busy figures shuttled back and forth in the room. "Grandfather, do you still want this thing?" "Yes." "Okay, then I will pack it up." Fong Shishi was like a little bee, tirelessly packing up his things. Her forehead was already covered in sweat, but she was completely unaware. It was as if she had endless motivation. Tang Jing felt some heartache. She had never done this kind of work at home but was willing to do it for him. He quickly walked in and took the thing from her hand. It was a little heavy. He didn't know where she got her strength from with her small body. "You're back." She revealed a brilliant smile. Her snow-white teeth paired with two small dimples made her look especially amiable. It was like a wife at home seeing her husband come home. Her eyebrows were filled with deep affection. Tang Jing wiped the sweat off her forehead and said, "Why do you have to work so hard? Just wait for me to come back." Fong Shishi rubbed against his palm. Her face was so happy that it was about to bloom like a flower. "Anyway, I have nothing to do. I will do it first. When you come back, you can do less." What a silly girl. Tang Jing's head was warm. If grandfather was not beside him, he would have pulled her into his arms. "You rest first. I will do it," Tang Jing said. "Let's do it together." Tang Dehai looked at the two from the side. His face also bloomed with a gratified smile. Originally, he was worried about Fong Shishi's family background. After all, the children of rich families were mostly spoiled. However, Fong Shishi did not have many bad habits in this area. This made Tang Dehai feel relieved. At least he felt that the two of them would live together harmoniously in the future. The three of them were busy for a while. Everything was packed. In fact, there was not much. After all, the new house had all the daily appliances and furniture. They only needed to bring some daily clothes and other small items. Chapter 121. After packing up and moving the things into a rented van, the small house was surrounded by many neighbors. Free novel portal. After all, the grandfather and grandson had lived here for decades, and many people knew each other, and these were all poor people. At first glance, when they saw the grandfather and grandson move, they all showed surprise and envy. Many people came forward to say hello, saying that Tang Dehai was lucky to finally be able to walk out of the slums. They also said that they had seen Tang Jing as a promising child since he was young, and it was true. Everyone was generous with their praise, expressing their blessings to the grandfather and grandson. Tang Dehai also responded enthusiastically, and there was no sense of pride or vanity at all. As an old man who had been honed by life for decades, those useless vanity feelings had long been thrown to the back of his mind, and what was left was only simplicity. In the sound of a group of people shouting to come back more often, the van started and drove towards the new house. Wind and water. Tang Jing let his grandfather be the first to enter the house. When the old man stepped into the new house, he was still a little uncomfortable, as if he was afraid that his shoes would dirty the floor. Then he was shocked by the new house. The decoration of the house was very luxurious, and the furniture and appliances were all high-end goods. Tang Dehai had never seen many of them before. He was like Granny Lu who had just entered the Grandview Garden, but there was no vanity, only amazement. "Grandfather, you rest first and visit the new house. I'll go move the luggage." Tang Jing sat the old man down on the sofa and then ran downstairs. Fong Shishi also followed. It was already May, and the weather was gradually getting hot. Fong Shishi's face was sweating again, but her face was always full of smiles. Tang Jing had been in the same class with her for 3 years, but he had never seen so many smiles. "You're tired too. Rest at home. I'll take care of these things in a while." Tang Jing took care of everything. "You want to leave me alone?" "No way, labor is the most glorious, I also want to be glorious." Fong Shishi rushed to carry a bag of luggage in her arms. Like a small soldier in a rapid march, she quickly went upstairs. Tang Jing shook his head and smiled. He did not stop her, but the warmth in his heart grew stronger and stronger. Tang Jing was very strong, and there was an elevator. It didn't take long for the luggage to be moved into the new house. In fact, many of the things that Tang Dehai brought were useless and took up space. Tang Jing did not interfere, because these things all contained his grandfather's memories, so it did not matter if they took up a little space. In a home, the most important thing was to live comfortably. With these old things, Tang Dahai would be comfortable. Tang Dahai had mixed feelings. He was gradually adapting to this new environment. From the balcony overlooking the courtyard, there were many old people moving around. The environment was indeed very comfortable. Little Zheng, you guys rest well at home. I'll go down and familiarize myself with the environment. I'll also go to the market and buy some groceries. Little girl, don't go, stay here and eat. Tang Dahai said. Grandfather will go with you. Fang Shishir said obediently. Tang Dahai waved his hand. No need, you guys have been tired for half a day. Rest first, I'll be back in 2 hours. Grandfather left, leaving only 2 people in the large room. Fang Shishir looked at Tang Zheng with shining eyes and asked, Are you happy moving to a new house? Of course I'm happy, but I see that you're even happier than me. You always have a smile on your face. Labor is glorious, of course I'm happy. Is it only because of labor, and no other reason? Tang Zheng asked mischievously. Fang Shishir's charming face blushed. What other reason could there be? Could it be that there's no reason for me? Shameless. Fang Shishir stuck out her tongue. I'm shameless, but you're really beautiful. How am I beautiful? I'm covered in sweat. Receiving the praise of her beloved, Fang Shishir said insincerely. Covered in sweat? Let me smell it. Tang Zheng hugged her, put his nose on her body, took a few deep breaths and said, How is it smelly sweat? It's clearly dripping with fragrant sweat. Fang Shishir giggled. How is sweat fragrant? You don't mean what you say. That's not what I said. The ancients said, a faint fragrance of flowers, a faint fragrance of women. Your body is really fragrant. If you don't believe me, you can smell it. Tang Zheng said seriously. Then I'll smell it. Fang Shishir raised her arm and smelled it. Indeed, there wasn't much of a smell, but the fragrance of a young girl was a bit stronger because of the evaporation of sweat. Isn't it fragrant? Let me smell it again. Tang Zheng's face moved down from her neck to her towering chest, and then he didn't want to leave. You dare to be naughty. Fang Shishir immediately saw through his intentions, grabbed his ear and said coquettishly. How am I naughty? I'm such a pure person. Tang Zheng didn't even raise his head as he said with an evil smile. Humph, I was deceived by your innocence before, you really are a big bad person. Fang Shishir's tone became hurried. Hurry and get up, otherwise I'll twist your ear. Twist it, even if you twist my ear, I won't be willing to get up. Tang Zheng said mischievously. Fang Shishir helplessly put down her hand, admitting defeat. I really don't know what to do with you. Hi hey, last time we didn't finish, but you promised me to continue. Fang Shishir immediately remembered the intimacy they had last time in that small room. Her heart thumped wildly, and her cheeks became even redder. Bad person, so you still remember this matter? Of course I remember, how could I forget such an important matter? Tang Zheng said as a matter of fact. Fang Shishir's breathing couldn't help but quicken, and her body began to heat up. She shyly said, I'm sweating, I can't. It's okay, you'll be sweating later anyway. You are really bad. Fang Shishir was helpless. Listen, whose heart is beating faster? Your heart betrayed your true thoughts. Tang Zheng put his ear on her chest. Fang Shishir hurriedly tried to break free, but when she straightened her body, it was as if she took the initiative to press her chest on his face. How could Tang Zheng let go of this great opportunity, and his face fiercely pressed on top, changing the shape of his face? Fang Shishir let out a suppressed scream, but she didn't know that this scream was full of temptation. Tang Zheng's hand tightened, and the 2 people's bodies were tightly pressed together. We moved to a new house, so of course we have to celebrate. Tang Zheng raised his head, and their eyes met, and their 2 faces were almost touching. 2 pairs of eyes were filled with deep affection, and Fang Shishir almost melted in his eyes. Not only did her body soften, but her heart also softened. The 2 people's mouths slowly kissed together, and the familiar taste and feeling exploded from the bottom of their hearts. Let's go to bed. Tang Jing picked her up by the waist and walked towards the bedroom. Fang Shirshir leaned her head on his shoulder, bit her lips and said, "Grandpa will be back." "Didn't Grandpa say that he would be back in 2 hours? It's still early." Tang Jing was definitely not willing to give up halfway this time. "Humph, you've been planning this for a long time," Fang Shirshir said coquettishly. "Hi, how could that be? I'm very pure." Tang Jing laughed evilly. "Pure your head?" Fang Shirshir knocked his forehead. Tang Jing gently put her on the bed, and her curvaceous body immediately appeared, causing his eyes to stare at her. "Brat, take her down in one go," Tian Chanzi said. "Go away." Tang Jing quickly sealed him, not giving him a chance to do a free show. The two people were entangled together, and Tang Jing's hands were not obedient and began to attack. Fang Shirshir's clothes were taken off one by one, and soon, only her bra was left on her upper body. Looking at the hemispherical shape that was wrapped up, his eyes were about to spit fire, and his body temperature rose even higher, and the true qi in his veins began to become restless. It was such a beautiful scene, and it would be a pity to block it, so he quickly took off her bra, but after a long time, he still couldn't get it. "Poochie." Fang Shirshir looked at his embarrassed state, and couldn't help but laugh. Tang Jing's face was red with embarrassment, and he said resentfully, "It's the first time, I'm not familiar with it, and I really don't know how to take it off." Fang Shirshir glanced at him flirtatiously, and she reached behind her and gently took off her bra, revealing the beautiful scene in front of Tang Jing's eyes. Gulp. Tang Jing forcefully swallowed his saliva. "Stupid." Fang Shirshir was shy and sweet, but she saw the deep love in the eyes of the person she loved, so she gathered her courage and straightened her chest. Tang Jing was like a hungry wolf, and he pounced on her. A moment later, the two of them were completely naked, and their bodies were covered in sweat. Tang Jing used all his strength, but he found that his knowledge in this area was too lacking and he couldn't get it right. He was so anxious that his forehead was covered in sweat. Fang Shirshir was about to melt, and she hugged his waist and shyly encouraged him, "Try again, this time it will definitely work." It was the first time for both of them, and they were inexperienced. Tang Jing naturally wouldn't give up, or else he would despise himself in the future. He finally used all his strength, and after studying for a long time, he finally succeeded. Fang Shirshir's shy cry of pain made Tang Jing's movements stop. "Is it very painful?" he asked with heartache. Fang Shirshir frowned, nodded, and then took a deep breath and said, "Slow down." Tang Jing was afraid of hurting her, so he went from slow to fast, and the two of them finally went through the mountain of Wu and wandered in that wonderful feeling. The true qi in Tang Jing's body was like boiling water, and his body temperature suddenly rose, like a red-hot iron, but Fang Shirshir didn't feel anything. Her eyes were half closed, and she bit her lips. Her face was crimson red, and she was full of shyness and satisfaction. Tang Jing was like a wild horse galloping through the prairie, and he freely scattered his energy. The pure yin energy continuously passed from Fang Shirshir's body into his. This pure yin energy was like a solid substance, and it was so thick that it couldn't be dissolved. It flowed through his meridians, and in an instant, it came into contact with the boiling true qi. The boiling true qi was like a violent child meeting a loved one, and under the affectionate comfort, it began to become docile and grow. The true qi in the 9 main meridians rose, from 4 inches and 6 parts to 7 parts, 8 parts, as if there was no end. Chapter 122. His Zhen Qi crazily rose, causing others to be flabbergasted. Translation: Tang Jing did not realize this at all because he and Fang Shirshir were completely immersed in this wonderful feeling. Making love on a mountain, the two people's hearts and bodies merged together, harmonizing with each other. Being rolled by waves, their figures alternated, the sound of breathing and panting did not stop, as if it was a concerto, causing people's hearts to palpitate with excitement, full of temptation. Suddenly, 2 slightly high-pitched cries were heard, and 2 bodies tightly hugged each other. The wind stopped and the rain stopped. A blazing stream of qi entered Fang Shirshir's body, quickly flowing through her meridians. Her 8 extraordinary meridians, 4 limbs, and hundreds of bones were all undergoing earth-shattering changes. Her skin was flushed, and the corner of her mouth hung a satisfied smile. Her eyes were like autumn water, filled with deep affection and sweetness. Tang Zheng's entire body quivered as he instantly felt the changes in his body. That viscous pure yin energy and pure yang energy completely neutralized, causing his true qi to rise with a whooshing sound. It actually crossed 5 inches and did not stop there. He suddenly remembered what Tian Chanzi said. It seems that it was true, absorbing so much pure yin energy in one go, his cultivation actually made a qualitative leap. At this moment, he was already a 5th-grade qi refining cultivator, and he did not know what realm he could reach in the end. He did not waste this great opportunity, and hurriedly operated the ancient clear heaven scroll. Immediately, his Zhen Qi soared even faster, unexpectedly surpassing 6 inches in one go. 6 inches meant that he was a 6th-grade qi refining cultivator. According to what Tian Chanzi said, even the disciples of the large sects in the cultivation world did not have such a fast cultivation speed. The 9-yang saint body was indeed extraordinary. Although there was a risk of exploding, the saying that risk and opportunity coexisted was not wrong. His Zhen Qi did not rise any further, steadily stopping at 6 inches, but this was enough to make Tang Zheng go wild with joy. Seeing Tang Zheng motionless with a strange expression, Fang Shishir hurriedly asked with concern, "What happened to you?" Tang Zheng could not hide his joy, and could not help but kiss her forehead. "Shishir, thank you." Fang Shishir smiled charmingly and rebuked, "Why are you thanking me for this?" Tang Zheng lay on the bed and held her in his arms. He gently stroked her black hair with one hand and slid his other hand down her snow-white back. Fang Shishir lay on his chest obediently. The redness on her body had not completely disappeared. Her fair skin was tinged with red, making her look exceptionally alluring. "I've already given myself to you, so you must treat me well in the future. Do you understand?" Fang Shishir rubbed his chest and said softly. Ever since Tang Zheng started practicing martial arts, his body had become more robust. His muscles were clearly defined, but they did not have the terrifying explosive feeling of a bodybuilder. Instead, he had a well-proportioned body with great strength. Fang Shishir lay on his chest, like a drifting boat anchored in a sheltered harbor. No storm could disturb her. "I'll definitely treat you well," Tang Zheng solemnly promised. "I believe in you." Looking at her exquisite body, Tang Zheng felt that at this moment, he was the happiest man in the world. He was filled with pride and a sense of accomplishment. His gaze slowly moved down from the top to the bottom, admiring the most beautiful scenery. Suddenly, a touch of red jumped into his line of sight, attracting his gaze. Fang Shishir felt his burning gaze and subconsciously looked over. She softly exclaimed and shyly said, "You're not allowed to look." She quickly grabbed the bedsheet. There were a few drops of blood on it. It was dark red like a blooming flower. "Do you have a pair of scissors?" Fang Shishir asked. Tang Zheng was puzzled. "What do you need a pair of scissors for?" "Don't worry about it. Quickly go and find it for me." Tang Zheng was naked. He resentfully got off the bed and went out to find a pair of scissors. Fang Shishir saw him swagger over and was also naked. She could not help but feel ashamed. "Are you an exhibitionist? You don't even wear clothes when you go out." Tang Zheng laughed mischievously. "Anyway, there's only the two of us at home. What's there to be afraid of?" Fang Shishir took the scissors and with a few kacha, she cut off the blood-stained bedsheet. A large hole appeared on the bedsheet. Tang Zheng was shocked. "Why are you cutting the bedsheet?" "It's none of your business." Fang Shishir carefully folded the small piece of bedsheet and put it in her pocket. Tang Zheng bitterly sighed. "AI, my bedsheet. Why is your life so bitter? Your mistress didn't like you and directly dismembered you." Fang Shishir hurriedly waved the scissors and threatened, "Don't say it. Be careful or I'll cut you." Tang Zheng hurriedly covered his lower part and said, "That won't do. Besides, how can you bear to do it?" "Humph, I'm very generous. I won't bear to do it." Fang Shishir clenched her teeth and made a fierce expression. Tang Zheng looked at the hole and suddenly remembered something. He was shocked. "We didn't take any protective measures." Will I be pregnant? Right, what if I'm pregnant? Fong Shishir paused for a moment and suddenly asked in a panic. Tang Jing had never thought of having a big fat boy at his age. He could not help but feel a chill in his heart. He was too impulsive just now. Many times, men are easily blinded by desire. But looking at Fong Shishir's panicked appearance, his heart trembled, and said, "Let's go buy medicine later. I know this medicine is not good for the body, but this is the first time. I won't be so reckless in the future. I will take precautions." "I'll look at your scared face." Fong Shishir laughed and pointed at him, saying, "I thought you really weren't afraid of anything. You look so cute right now." Tang Jing knew that he was embarrassed, but he did not care. He said seriously, "Don't laugh. I'm serious. We can't have children at this age, so we have to take precautions." Fong Shishir was still smiling. Looking at his serious appearance, tears were about to come out of her eyes. "Don't worry, I'm just teasing you. Today is my safe period. It's fine." Fong Shishir finally revealed the truth. Safe period? What's that? Tang Jing was baffled. He was really lacking in knowledge. "Anyway, it's fine. Don't worry. You looked so cute when you were so serious." Fong Shishir still could not hide her smile. Tang Jing scratched his head. It seemed that he had to cram in knowledge in this area in the future. Fong Shishir was more mature than other girls. She appreciated his attitude after the incident. She did not think that it was manly for a man to say that he would give birth to a child if she was pregnant. On the contrary, that was the greatest harm to a girl. Because at this age, it was impossible to think about children. Tang Jing's was a mature countermeasure. Tang Jing breathed a sigh of relief. Seeing that she was still laughing, he pounced on her and said fiercely, "You dare to laugh at me? I'll let you know my power." "Ah no." Fong Shishir hurriedly dodged, but how could she escape from Tang Jing's claws? She was teased until she was panting, "No, I'm going to take a shower. Grandpa will be back soon." "You want to take a shower, right? Then let's take a shower together." After saying that, he did not wait for her to react. He carried her by the waist and rushed into the bathroom. After a while, the sound of water mixed with seductive panting sounded again. Tang Jing and Fong Shishir were neatly dressed. They sat on the sofa and watched TV. Fong Shishir was lazily nestled in his arms. She was absent-mindedly staring at the TV screen while talking to him. Click. The sound of a key turning the door lock was heard. Fong Shishir was like a frightened deer. She immediately climbed out of his arms and sat upright. "Grandpa, you're back." Tang Jing greeted him. Tang Dahai had bought a lot of vegetables. "Wow, Grandpa, you bought so many vegetables. Moving to a new house. Of course, we have to celebrate. I'll go cook. Tonight's dinner is very sumptuous. Let me help." Fong Shishir volunteered. Tang Jing winked at her, indicating that she should not move. She was really tormented by Tang Jing. Moreover, it was her first time tasting a man and a woman. Her body was slightly unwell and she should not move too much. Otherwise, it would be easy for Tang Dahai to find out. Fong Shishir rolled her eyes at him, as if to say that it was not his fault. She did not stand up. "Shishir, you're tired from moving. You can watch TV. Leave the kitchen to us." Tang Dahai also said. Obviously, he did not find anything strange. The kitchen rang with the sound of pots and pans ding-ding. Fong Shishir listened to it and felt particularly comfortable. It was better than any music. It made her feel the warmth and tranquility of home. After dinner, it was already late. Fong Shishir did not dare to stay any longer in order to avoid being exposed. She hurriedly asked Tang Jing to send her home. At this time, Tian Chanzi's seal was lifted. He did not give up and shouted, "Boy, I really regret teaching you the sealing technique. Every time you seal me up, I'm so angry. You can't look at what you shouldn't look at. Don't you understand this principle? You're still a master." Tang Jing jokingly said. "Who said that I would peek? I'm so powerful. Don't tell me that I don't understand the principle of not looking at indecent things." Tian Chanzi indignantly defended himself. "I don't believe you in this aspect, Hai. You're questioning my character. You're making me angry. Tian Chanzi shouted. Suddenly, he was surprised. Boy, how did your cultivation become 6th grade refining qi? Didn't you say that pure yin energy could help me improve my cultivation? Tang Jing asked. Tian Chanzi was making a fuss over nothing. I did say that, but it didn't increase this fast. This is completely beyond my expectations. I originally thought that breaking through to the 5th grade refining qi would be amazing. But this is directly breaking through to the 6th grade refining qi. Do you know the principle that the further you cultivate, the harder it is? Tian Chanzi was still immersed in shock, chattering endlessly. Tang Zheng was already used to his own speed. He disapprovingly said, "Isn't it a good thing that my cultivation speed has increased?" Tian Chanzi was speechless. He could only mutter to himself, "You're really a monster. This speed is too abnormal." "Hi hey, didn't you always say that I wasn't human? Isn't my monstrous speed in line with my identity?" Tang Jing proudly said. Tian Chanzi simply ignored his complacency. But after a while, Tian Chanzi once again screamed, "This girl, she..." It seemed that something unbelievable had happened that caused him to lose his composure. Chapter 123. Tang Zheng was shocked as he thought that something bad had happened to Fang Shishir and hurriedly asked, "Tian Chanzi, what happened to Shishir? How did her physique change?" Tian Chanzi asked in bewilderment. "Physique? Doesn't she have a pure yin body?" Tang Zheng was a bit confused. She indeed still has a pure yin body, but her nature has undergone an earth-shattering change. Her current physique is too suitable for cultivation, as if a top expert had used a supreme divine ability to transform her physique. Tian Chanzi exclaimed. If they were face to face, Tang Zheng felt that he would definitely be able to see Tian Chanzi's mouth as if it was stuffed with a duck egg. Tang Zheng was also shocked as he only had the most intimate relationship with her, so how did her physique change? "I know, it must be something you did. The 9-yang saint body actually has such a divine ability. I have never heard of it before." Tian Chanzi did not know if he was envious or jealous as he exclaimed. Tang Zheng was happy as Fang Shishir being suitable for cultivation was not a bad thing but a great thing. Tang Zheng was a cultivator, and according to what the heaven monk said, his aging would become very slow, and his lifespan would also become longer. However, the aging of ordinary people was too fast, and their lifespan was also short. He was just worried that he could not find a solution, and since Fang Shi was suitable for cultivation, then he would let her cultivate as well. This way she could protect herself when she was alone, and even if she went abroad to study in the future it would be much safer. It was killing two birds with one stone. Tang Zheng ignored the stunned Tian Chanzi and hurriedly asked, "Tian Chanzi, do you have a suitable cultivation method for her to cultivate?" "What do you mean, brat? Since you said that her physique is suitable for cultivation, then of course we can't waste it," Tang Jing said as a matter of fact. Tian Chanzi muttered to himself for a while before saying, "No. F***ck, Tian Chanzi, don't tell me you can't even bear to part with a set of techniques?" Tang Jing said unhappily, "Don't interrupt. I'm not saying that I won't give her a cultivation method, but with such a good physique, it would be a waste to just give her a random cultivation method. Do you know that it is a sin to waste such a good physique?" Tang Zheng understood the meaning behind his words and said, "Then you don't have to hide it. Quickly give me a set of powerful techniques." Of course there are powerful cultivation methods, but how can they be given to others so casually? What do you mean? Every sect has its own treasured cultivation method. Wouldn't it be a mess if they just randomly gave it away? Then what should we do? I don't care. If you dare to give her a roadside stall like a perfunctory cultivation method, I definitely won't let you off," Tang Zheng threatened fiercely. Am I that kind of person who would measure the heart of a gentleman with the yardstick of a villain? Little brat, at the beginning because of the ancient clear heaven scroll, I was unable to accept you as my disciple. Now that I have accepted her as my disciple, it can be considered as a form of compensation. Our acquaintance was not in vain. Tian Chanzi spoke frankly with assurance. "You want to accept Shishir as your disciple?" Tang Jing really did not think that this would be the result. Of course, I'm kind enough. Tian Chanzi said flatteringly. I see that you have your own little calculations, right? You discovered that Shershir's physique is excellent, so you had the idea of accepting her as your disciple. Tang Zhang's words exposed the mystery. Tian Chanzi was seen through and resentfully said, I'm just being impatient, you know? This kind of good seedling, of course I can't waste it. Tian Chanzi, will definitely be able to teach a peerless disciple. Tang Zheng's heart moved. Although Tian Chanzi was sometimes unreliable, he was more than enough to be a master. Moreover, he was very knowledgeable about cultivation. Little brat, let me tell you, if this little girl does not accept me as her master, I will not be able to teach her a top-level cultivation technique because this is the sex rule. I cannot break the rules, do you understand? Tian Chanzi said solemnly. Don't make up excuses yourself, what sex rules? Tang Zheng retorted. I'm so angry, little brat, you take my good intentions for ill intent. Oh, okay, then we'll do as you say and let her accept you as her master. But I want to make it clear, if you are not a competent master, then don't blame me for letting her join another sect. Tian Chanzi snorted. It's hard to find such a competent master under the heavens. Only you would waste such a heaven-sent opportunity. Don't talk big, you should think about what kind of cultivation technique to give her. Of course it's the cloud water technique. This is the top-level cultivation technique that my sect's female disciples cultivate. When cultivated to the peak, they will have the ability to pierce through heaven and earth. You're exaggerating. I'm just speaking the truth. How can you make her accept you as her master when you're in my head? Hey, I originally thought that I would have to wait a long time before I could be reborn, but you little brat, your abnormal cultivation speed completely exceeded my expectations. Therefore, the day of my rebirth is not far away. Really? Tang Zheng was overjoyed. Speaking of which, it was a bit awkward to have another soul living in his head. Of course, you've already reached the 6th grade refining qi. My soul has also been nourished to a strong enough level that I can be reborn. However, a vessel is not easy to find. Now that so many people have died, just randomly find one. Tang Zheng deliberately suggested. Bullshit. Do you think that I, Tian Chanzi, can casually find a vessel for my rebirth? You have to choose carefully, otherwise I'll just stay in your head and not leave. If you don't leave, then don't even think about accepting a disciple. Little brat, do you really want to anger me to death before you're satisfied? Tang Zheng laughed. Don't be angry, isn't this for your own good? During this time, we'll properly look for a vessel. That's more like it. Don't worry, although I can't make her accept me as her master right now, I can still pass on the cloud water technique to her. You just need to guide her according to what I said. In the future, when I'm reborn, we'll clearly explain everything to her so that I don't scare her. If you say it like that, then it seems that you're more competent as her master. Then I'll agree on her behalf. Hurry up and give me the cloud water technique. A light flashed in Tang Zheng's head. There was already a new technique chant. Carefully examining it with Tang Zheng's eyes, it was indeed very exquisite. Tang Zheng, why aren't you saying anything? Seeing that they were almost at the door, Feng Shishir curiously asked. Shishir, I have a very serious matter to tell you. Tang Zheng stopped and said seriously. What matter, why are you so serious? Feng Shishir laughed involuntarily. Don't tell me you're thinking of something bad in your head. Tang Zheng seriously said, it's a serious matter. You know that I know martial arts, right? I know. I heard that Yi Dingdang is not your opponent. I also heard that Yi Dingdang's martial arts are not bad. Now when she talked about Yi Dingdang, she no longer felt a strong sense of crisis because her relationship with Tang Zheng was already confirmed. It was not something that Yi Dingdang could compare to. Yes, but I'm not the same as her. She's a martial artist and I'm a cultivator. We have two different systems. Martial artist, cultivator. Feng Shishir's eyes widened as if she was listening to a heavenly book. Tang Zheng then explained the systems of martial artists and cultivators. Feng Shishir was even more confused as this was beyond her scope of understanding. You're saying that cultivators can fly and burrow into the ground, as well as have the ability to see through heaven and earth? Yes. Then do you know all these things now? Fang Shishi's eyes began to emit little stars as she looked at her boyfriend with interest. Any girl would hope that her boyfriend would be strong enough. Moreover, Tang Jing was a cultivator, which added a mysterious aura to his body, making him particularly attractive. Tang Jing embarrassedly said, I know a bit of magic, but it's still far from being able to fly and burrow into the ground. Magic. Fang Shishi covered her mouth as she stared at him and probingly asked, What kind of magic? Can I see it? It's just a little. Fang Shishi expectantly said. Tang Jing agreed, so he would show it off a little. It could also increase her motivation and interest in cultivation. However, the spells he knew were sealing techniques, alchemy techniques, and body-fixing techniques. These were not suitable for him to show off, but the true fire was very effective. He looked around and seeing that there was no one around, he handsomely extended a finger. A light purple flame instantly appeared on his fingertip and burned fiercely. Fire, your finger is actually on fire. Fang Shishi had lived for 18 years and had never seen such a shocking thing. She covered her mouth as her eyes widened. This isn't magic, right? Of course not. Then can I touch it? No, this fire won't hurt me, but it will hurt you. Oh. Fang Shishi nodded as if she understood. Her eyes gradually lit up as she stared at the true fire as if she wanted to study it thoroughly. Shishi, do you want to learn? Can I also learn? Of course you can. Your physique is very good and very suitable for cultivation. Really? Fang Shishi was so happy that she almost jumped up. Then in the future can I also be as strong as you? Of course, maybe you'll be even stronger than me. I want to learn, I want to learn. Fang Shishi nodded her head like she was pounding garlic. She couldn't wait and fantasized that the two of them would be a celestial couple. But I don't know anything. It's because you don't know that you have to learn. There is someone who wants to take you as a disciple, but it's not convenient for him to show up right now. So I will first teach you on his behalf. When he shows up in the future, you can take him as your master. I have a master? Fang Shishi was very surprised. She was immersed in her studies all year round, so this kind of novel and exciting thing made her little heart beat fast. Yes, but right now I am teaching you temporarily. Then wouldn't you be my substitute master? Fang Shishi covered her mouth and couldn't help but chuckle. Tang Jing hadn't discovered that she had such a strange side to her and couldn't help but laugh, finding it very interesting. Master, please accept a bow from your disciple. She imitated the way a servant girl in ancient times would bow to her master and then couldn't help but laugh. Preposterous! How can she bow to you? She should bow to me. Tian Chanzi was very angry and shouted jealously. We're just playing around. Don't take it seriously. You really don't understand the fun. Tang Jing choked him and Tian Chanzi quieted down again. Come, let's go into the room first. Then I will teach you the cultivation method. You must concentrate on cultivating. It's too noisy outside. Tang Jing decided to strike while the iron was hot and lead her on the road of cultivation tonight. Chapter 124. The two entered Fang Shishi's room under the strange gazes of Fang Chonghua and Shi Mengqin, a light fragrance causing one to feel refreshed. Caret o caret, caret o caret, Tang Jing had her sit down and tapped her forehead with his finger, causing the cloud water technique to appear in her mind. Fang Shishi stared in disbelief. If not for Tang Jing repeatedly telling her to calm down, she would have jumped up. Tang Jing guided her step by step in her cultivation, explaining the key points of the technique. Fang Shishi's comprehension ability was quite strong and she immediately understood. Following the cloud water technique, as time passed, strands of spiritual energy from the heavens and earth converged into her body, transforming into true qi that flowed through her meridians. My eyes were not wrong, she really is suited for cultivation. Before long, she will be able to reach the first grade of refining qi. Tian Chanzi was unable to contain his joy. But compared to a monster like you, she is still lacking a bit. That's right, in this world, there are only a few monsters like you. Tian Chanzi said with regret. Tang Jing helplessly gave a bitter smile. Originally, he had read through the ancient Clear Heaven scroll once and then mysteriously reached the first grade of refining qi, which was truly abnormal. Then can she use the spirit gathering pill? Don't be in a hurry, right now we need to lay down the foundation. It is best not to rely on external items and instead rely on her own strength to slowly build her body and solidify her foundation. This will greatly benefit her future cultivation. Tian Chanzi denied. Feng Shishir let out a breath of turbid air and opened her eyes. Her eyes were much brighter than before and she was pleasantly surprised. I can feel it, there is a stream of energy flowing through my body. It is too magical. That is true qi, the source of power. The more true qi you have, the higher your cultivation will be and the stronger your strength will be. Then I will definitely work hard to cultivate. You are currently at the 6th grade of refining qi, so I will work hard to catch up to you. Feng Shishir was filled with fighting spirit. How good. However, don't give yourself too much pressure. After all, I started cultivating before you. In the future, you can slowly cultivate. If you have anything you don't understand, just ask me. Feng Shishir hurriedly nodded. After a pause, she asked, Can we tell someone about this? Of course not, this is our secret. I don't know how many cultivators there are in this world. Our strength is too weak. If others find out, it's hard to guarantee that we won't be in danger. I know. I'll keep it a secret. Feng Shishir said with a smile. She and Tang Jing were the same type of people, which undoubtedly made the bond between the two of them even more unbreakable. Then I'll go back first. Wait a minute. Feng Shishir stood up and kissed Tang Jing on the lips. This is your reward. Go back. Tang Jing returned home under the watchful eyes of the Feng couple. The next day, when Tang Jing arrived at school, he was stopped by Lu Qingmei at the door of the classroom. Your injuries are better? Lu Qingmei calmly asked. Thank you, Teacher Lu, for your concern. My injuries are already better. When did you get better? Yesterday. Is that so? You've been recuperating at home these past few days? Yes. Injuries to the muscles and bones take 100 days to heal. In order to come to school earlier, I've been recuperating at home. Fortunately, my body is still quite strong, so it healed faster. Lu Qingmei stared at him as if she wanted to discern the truth of his words. Logically speaking, with 2 broken ribs, one shouldn't be able to recover so quickly. However, looking at Tang Jing's appearance, it didn't seem like he had just recovered. It was certain that he had been recovering for several days. Lu Qingmei couldn't help but wonder if the doctor made a mistake. In short, Tang Jing was definitely deliberately avoiding the monthly exam. The day before yesterday, I saw a good play at Shangfeng Shangshui. Lu Qingmei suddenly said. Tang Jing was startled and looked at her in surprise. I saw on the spot that a certain person was full of spirit and didn't look like he was recuperating. Why do you think that is? Lu Qingmei calmly asked. Tang Jing felt anger from the other's seemingly calm eyes. She must have seen through his thoughts. He couldn't help but awkwardly say, perhaps. But he couldn't think of a reason. Say it. Perhaps what? Lu Qingmei faintly smiled. Suddenly, her voice rose a few octaves. Tang Jing, you really have big guts. You actually dared to lie to me. What did you promise me at the time? Tang Jing was embarrassed and speechless. You don't have anything to say? You actually pretended to be sick to avoid the monthly exam. What do you think we should do? Lu Qingmei angrily said. Can we move this promise to the college entrance exam? Tang Jing suggested. He was originally prepared to make a comeback during the college entrance exam and then ruthlessly slap the old witch in the face and kick her out of the school. Okay, then let's move it to the college entrance exam. Were you already prepared to shock everyone during the college entrance exam? Is that why you made a bet with Wu Cuihong? Lu Qingmei speculated. Tang Jing laughed. Teacher Lu even guessed this. I was just wondering why you were so confident at that time. So it turns out that you were already prepared to let her fall into your trap. What a good plan. Lu Qingmei was also very surprised at Tang Jing's plan. If it wasn't for her pressuring me step by step, I wouldn't have set this trap for her. Tang Jing shrugged and explained. I don't care about the matter between you and her. But as punishment for deliberately cheating, in a few days you will go to a dance party with me. Dance party? Yes, I will inform you of the specific time. If you dare to break the promise again, do you believe that I won't tell Wu Tsuehong and make your plan fail? Lu Qingmei threatened. Tang Jing inwardly sighed. Since he had been caught by her, then he could only beg for mercy. Also, I am very clear about the matter between you and Fang Shishir. The fact that you accepted her house is very explosive. If you don't obediently listen to me, then I will spread the news. Hee, then you will really become the school's enemy. Lu Qingmei said with an evil smile. Tang Jing had never seen her smile like this before. He couldn't help but be dazzled for a moment. He immediately realized the seriousness of her words and hurriedly said, Teacher Lu, this time I will definitely not break the promise. I will definitely properly complete the task you gave me. That's more like it. Lu Qingmei patted his shoulder. That's right, accepting a woman's house is not something to be ashamed of. Don't take it too seriously. Tang Jing didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She was actually mistaken for Xiao Bai's face. When he sat down, he was still conflicted over Lu Qingmei's misunderstanding. Should he tell her that he was not Xiao Bai's face? This misunderstanding was too big as it concerned his reputation. Forget it, I won't explain. Anyways, I don't have a good impression of her. Maybe if her impression of me was a bit worse, then she wouldn't notice me and the matter of that night would be over. He was about to let his imagination run wild when he heard Yi Dingdong's voice. Hey, you're so preoccupied this early in the morning. What are you doing? Nothing. Are your injuries better? They're better. Yi Dingdang leaned over, her face brimming with joy. Let me tell you a piece of good news. What good news? I've already broken through to the 5th grade refining body. Oh, congratulations. Tang Jing guessed that it must be the effect of the Jade Women's Heart Sutra. Hey, don't you feel a bit disappointed? Show it, I won't laugh at you. Yi Dingdang said with a smile, unable to hide the pride between her brows. Tang Jing scratched his head and suspiciously said, Why would I be disappointed? Ha, you still won't admit it. You're a 4th grade refining body and I'm a 5th grade refining body. Now that my cultivation is finally higher than yours, shouldn't you be disappointed? Yi Dingdang boasted. She had been dealt a heavy blow by Tang Jing before. I haven't had the time to tell you that I'm now a 6th grade refining body. Tang Jing lightly said. Yi Dingdong's expression immediately froze as if someone had cast a spell on her. She stared dumbstruck at Tang Jing, wondering if she had heard wrong. After a while, she finally reacted and exclaimed, You said you're a 6th grade refining body? Seeing Tang Jing nod his head, she was dealt a heavy blow as she exclaimed, How is that possible? Aren't you just a 4th grade refining body? How did you reach the 6th grade refining body? Tang Jing shrugged his shoulders. This means that my progress is extremely fast. Are you taking advantage of me not being able to see through your cultivation so you deliberately lied to me? She still could not believe this result. Am I that bored? Tang Jing retorted. Yi Dingdong's face immediately turned into a bitter melon color. She had finally broken through with great difficulty and thought that she had won against him, but she did not expect that he would actually overtake her. This huge difference made her want to cry but have no tears. Not fair, this is not fair. She slammed her book on the table with a ping sound, scaring the others as they all turned their heads to look. I also have no other choice. Tang Jing shrugged his shoulders, showing a helpless expression. Yi Dingdang hatefully glared at him as this was too infuriating. There was nothing more infuriating than this. Could it be that she was going to be suppressed by him and never be able to turn over? Pay. What do you mean by being suppressed by him? What are you talking about? Takashi looked at the two of them from afar and said with joy. He made Dingdang angry. Good, as long as Dingdang is angry then his chances are small. This time he was hit by a car and recovered so quickly. The heavens really have no eyes. If only I was there at that time and crushed him a bit more, even if he didn't die he would still be dead. Hey, since Dingdang is angry at him, Then I should strike while the iron is hot and dig out his sinister and cunning side in one go. Then I will let Ding Dang know his true colors. That way he will have no chance at all. Right, let's do it this way. Follow him after school and he will definitely give himself away. At this time Feng Yong also walked in. Seeing Tang Jing, he excitedly ran over and called out his boss. Fatty, you really should lose some weight. Look at your fat jiggling. Tang Jing gave him a punch as he jokingly said, Hi hey, fat can take a beating. Feng Yong did not mind. Taking a beating is not good. A man should take the initiative to attack. Tang Jing corrected him. I don't know martial arts. If I was as strong as boss, then I would definitely take the initiative to attack. Feng Yong said with envy. Tang Jing's heart moved and said, Then I will find a set of martial arts for you to practice. Feng Yong was overjoyed and excitedly shouted, Boss, you really are my good boss. My dearest boss. Don't be disgusting. Move to the side. Tang Jing laughed and scolded. Yi Ding Dang heard that he was going to give Feng Yong a set of martial arts as if he had too much martial arts to practice. Her heart twitched as it was simply dripping blood. The difference was too big and there was no way to compare. Ding ding. A message suddenly sounded as Tang Jing's phone received a message. Tang Jing, I will invite you to dinner tonight. Can you do me the honor? Sender, Mu Hongyan. Chapter 125. Tang Jing walked into the elegant and fresh restaurant and saw Mu Hongyan and her daughter from afar. Book group. Mu Hongyan was still mature and elegant while Nana was extremely cute. She was stretching her neck to look at the door. When she saw Tang Jing, her eyes widened. She jumped down from the chair and ran towards him. Tang Jing smiled as he squatted down, and Nan Nan threw herself into his embrace, hugged his neck, and gave him a kiss. She giggled non-stop. Big brother godly doctor, I knew you would come to see me. Nan Nan is so happy. Tang Jing smiled kindly. I am also very happy to see Nana. Nana, come and sit down. Mu Hongyan waved her hand and nodded at Tang Jing. Brother godly doctor, can you carry me over? The little girl looked forward to it. It's my honor. Tang Jing picked her up. Nana excitedly hugged his neck and said with satisfaction, Brother godly doctor's arms are so comfortable. One big and one small walked to the front of the dining table. Mu Hongyan had already stood up with a smile. Tang Jing, please sit. Nanan, come down quickly. I'm not coming down. Nana has to stay in brother's arms for a while. Otherwise, there won't be a chance in the future. Nana hugged Tang Jing even tighter. She was like a sloth hugging a big tree, never letting go. Tang Jing said in surprise, How can there not be a chance in the future? Nana pouted and said faintly, Mom wants to bring Nana home. Nana won't be able to see brother godly doctor. Mu Hongyan explained, We just came to ordinary balance temporarily. Since Nana has recovered and the family wants to see her very much, we will go back in a few days. Today is mainly to say goodbye. Tang Jing suddenly realized, If you come to Dianan in the future, you must remember to tell me. I will do my best as a host. Mu Hongyan said sincerely. So you are from Dianan. If I go, I will contact you. Dianan is the southernmost province of the country. It is rich in resources and pleasant scenery. It has always been a place frequented by travelers. Brother godly doctor, then you promise to come to see me. Let's pinky swear. Nana stared with big black eyes and said seriously. Well, I will definitely go see you. Pinky swear. Nanan will wait for you. When the time comes, I'll give you good food. My family has a lot of good food. Nanan said seriously. Ha, good, Nana is so obedient. Tang Jing couldn't help but laugh. Mu Hongyan looked at the two people and said in her heart that it was really fate. Nana rarely stuck to a person like this. If only she stayed in ordinary balance for a while. But she can't stay long. She can't wait to find out who killed Nana. Nana's suffering over the years must be repaid to the other party. After all, ordinary balance is not her territory. It is not easy to investigate these things. Moreover, when she was pregnant, she was in a coma in Dianan. Then there will be more clues in her hometown. Mu Hongyan ordered a table full of delicious delicacies, and Nan finally left Tang Zheng's embrace. She obediently sat to the side and ate, but from time to time she would turn her head to look at him, as if she was afraid that he would disappear in the blink of an eye. Senior Medicine King has already gone to the capital. I also heard about the matter between you and Old Man Yi, but I never thought that you would directly reject him. Mu Hongyan said in a low voice. Even after so many days had passed, she still couldn't hide her surprise. Tang Jing shrugged. I have no deep hatred with him. It's just that as a superior, he is too arrogant. I don't like it. Mu Hongyan chuckled and said, Old Man Yi is a bit overbearing, but this is also the habit of people like him. You don't have to mind. In fact, I really want to thank you for everything you have done for Nana. If I hadn't met you, I can't imagine what would have happened. Tang Jing picked up the napkin and carefully wiped the rice grains from Nana's mouth. Maybe this is the fate between Nana and me. Yes, fate is a wonderful thing. Mu Hongyan sighed and turned her head to look out the window, as if recalling something in the past. In the unseen world, everything has its own destiny. Ever since you left, I never thought that we would meet again in such a way. However, when Yi Dingdang came to my house to find the King of Medicine, she was really anxious. She anxiously dragged the King of Medicine to the hospital to treat you. I can see that she cares about you very much. Tang Zheng couldn't help but think of Yi Dingdang. This morning he gave her a big blow. She didn't pay much attention to him the whole day. Even the intimate look between him and Fang Shishir didn't attract her attention. If it was in the past, he would definitely be ruthlessly ridiculed. She and I are friends. Tang Zheng seemed to be explaining to the other, and also seemed to be giving himself an accurate position in the bottom of his heart. Mu Hongyan smiled and said in her heart, Are they really just friends? However, she didn't ask to the bottom of the matter. She only briefly mentioned it and then changed to another topic. The two of them chatted happily. Although Mu Hongyan had a mature temperament, in fact, the two of them were only a few years apart, so they had a lot of common topics. Occasionally, Nan would interject a few words to better adjust the atmosphere, allowing this meal to end with laughter and laughter. It's already dark, I'll drive you home. Mu Hongyan pointed at the car not far away and said, No need, my house isn't very far away. It's only a few steps to walk back. Mu Hongyan didn't force her. Nana, quickly say goodbye to your brother. Brother Godly Doctor, goodbye. You must remember to come and see Nana. Nana will miss you. Nana hid in his arms again, reluctant to leave. Brother promised you, so I will definitely go. Tang Zheng put her down. Brother Godly Doctor, goodbye. Nana took her mother's hand and walked toward the car. Tang Zheng watched the two of them get on the car and start the car. Suddenly, his eyes were cold, staring at the car. It seemed that a black shadow appeared in the back seat of the car. Tang Zheng blinked to make sure that his eyes weren't playing tricks on him. There was indeed a black shadow in the back seat of the car, but it was dozens of meters away, so Tang Zheng couldn't see it clearly. Could it be their bodyguard? Tang Zheng knew that the mother and daughter were rich and noble. The last time they were shot, several cars suddenly jumped out and a group of people chased after the murderer. Could it be that this black shadow was the bodyguard who originally sat in the car? But how could the bodyguard sit in the back seat? In the movies, the bodyguard sat in the front seat and the employers sat in the back seat. Tang Zheng had an ominous premonition. He quickly called Mu Hongyan's cell phone, but no one answered. Seeing that the car was about to turn the corner and disappear, Tang Zheng no longer hesitated. Even if he made a mistake, he still wanted to catch up and take a look. But damn it, there was no taxi here. He looked around and suddenly found a bicycle parked nearby. It was locked with a big lock on the fire hydrant. He immediately used his power and violently pulled off the big lock. Next to him, there was a person who happened to pass by and was stunned to see this scene. Tang Zheng didn't care about shocking the world. He immediately rode the bicycle and quickly caught up. The speed of the car was neither fast nor slow. Tang Zheng followed behind from a distance. He subconsciously thought that something must have happened. Maybe they were hijacked. But in any case, he would never give up if he didn't catch up and take a look. Fortunately, the quality of the bicycle was not bad. Under his feet, The speed of the bicycle was raised little by little. He continuously overtook the other drivers, which made the other drivers dumbfounded. When did the speed of a bicycle become so overbearing? A moment later, Tang Zheng caught up with the car. There was indeed an extra person in the car. The other person was covered in black clothes, so he couldn't see the person's face. It was very strange. The driver was still Mu Hongyan. Her face was calm, neither surprised nor happy, as if there was nothing strange. Tang Zheng almost thought that he was too nervous and made a fuss. But suddenly, he felt that Mu Hongyan's calm face was a little strange. It could even be said that she was stiff. She looked straight ahead and just drove in a daze, like a marionette. Yes, a marionette, this was the feeling. Tang Zheng was shocked. The bicycle quickly passed the front of the car and stopped in front of it. Tang Zheng supported himself with one foot and shouted, "Stop the car!" The speed of the car didn't slow down. From afar, he could clearly see Mu Hongyan's face. She obviously saw him, but she was indifferent. Nana also saw him, but she still acted as if she didn't know him. No, she treated everything in front of her as air and quickly crashed into it. Ah! Screams came one after another. The pedestrians looked at this scene that was tantamount to suicide. Seeing that a car accident was about to happen, many people subconsciously covered their eyes. Bang! With a loud sound, the bicycle was hit and flew into the sky. A person also flew high, but he didn't fall to the ground. Instead, like a rock spreading its wings, he stretched out his four limbs and flew to the roof of the car and stuck to it. Unbelievable! Was this a movie? Before anyone had time to react, the car suddenly sped up and disappeared from everyone's sight in the blink of an eye. It was as if nothing had happened, but the bicycle that had been smashed into pieces quietly reminded everyone that everything that had happened was real. Tang Zheng lay on the roof of the car. He violently slapped the roof of the car and shouted for it to stop, but no one responded. The atmosphere was very strange. The car was as fast as lightning and finally turned into a dark alley. Screech! The brakes were slammed and the tires screeched against the ground. Tang Zheng was thrown out because of inertia. Seeing that he was about to hit the ground, he pushed his palm against the ground and rolled in the air. He quietly landed and stared at the car that was close to him. The sound of the car engine disappeared and the two big lights were turned off. There was no sound in the alley, which was very strange. The lights in the car were also turned off. It was pitch black. Tang Zheng couldn't see the situation in the car, but he wouldn't wait for death. He shouted, "Come out!" His voice was like thunder, but there was still no sound from Mu Hongyan and her daughter. Tang Zheng was even more panicked. The appearance of the mother and daughter subconsciously appeared in his mind, especially Nana's lovable appearance. He made up his mind, I can't let anything happen to them. Chapter 126. The silent confrontation made Tang Zheng very uneasy, worried that something bad would happen to Mu Hongyan and her daughter. So, regardless of the danger, he vigilantly rushed over and quickly attacked the man in black in the back seat. Bang! With a muffled sound, the car door was kicked open from the inside by a strong force, fiercely crashing into Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng dodged, but in the blink of an eye, he found that the man in black was already standing in front of the car door. The other side was still shrouded in a black coat. His face could not be seen clearly, exuding a strange atmosphere. "Who are you?" Tang Zheng vigilantly asked. "Why do you want to kidnap the mother and daughter? Who are you, daring to ruin my good thing? Are you not afraid of death?" The voice seemed a bit familiar, but Tang Zheng could not remember where he heard it. "If I was afraid of death, I would not have chased after you. What did you do to them?" Tang Zheng asked. The mother and daughter's sluggish appearance left a deep impression on him. "Of course, they fell into my bewitching spell." The man in black proudly laughed. "Bewitching spell? Boy, he is a devil." Tian Chanzi was shocked, quickly reminded. Bewitching spell can control people's thoughts, making them do things according to the caster's thoughts, turning them into a puppet. "You are a devil?" Tang Zheng was also very surprised. He only heard Tian Chanzi mention the devil when he was dispelling the evil energy from Nana, and also saw the other side's sinister curse technique, leaving a deep impression on him. "Hey, boy, you actually know about the devil, are you also a cultivator?" The man in black seemed to be very surprised. Suddenly he screamed, "I finally know who you are, it's you. It's you." Tang Zheng also shouted in unison. No wonder the other side's voice was a bit familiar. Wasn't it the voice of the python that spoke the human language? "Ha, I really searched high and low only to find you without any effort. I said I would come to find you, the heavens are really helping me. I originally planned to deal with the mother and daughter before coming to find you, but I didn't expect you to take the initiative to deliver yourself to me. Then I will deal with you together." The man in black arrogantly laughed. "I also want to find you, you actually dared to lay your hands on a baby in the womb, you are really worse than a beast." Tang Jing berated. It must be known that when the other party used the curse technique, Nan Nan was not even born yet. "Humph, my devil's way of doing things," the man in black discontented. The black-clothed man said with dissatisfaction, "But I am very curious why there are cultivators in Chongheng City. You are the first foreign cultivator I have met. Interesting. Relax, I will not be in a hurry to kill you. I will slowly torture you and squeeze out all the secrets from your body. Killing me won't be that easy." Tang Zheng was no longer the ignorant person of the past, so how could he be afraid of him? "Tian Chanzi, what is his cultivation?" "The same as you, 6th grade refining qi." Tang Zheng let out a sigh of relief. Luckily he had just increased his cultivation, otherwise he would not have been able to win against a 6th grade refining qi expert. But even if the two had the same cultivation, Tang Zheng did not dare to lower his guard. After all, this was his first time facing a real cultivator. A cultivator and a martial artist were different, the threat they posed was also different. The man in black clearly did not put Tang Zheng in his eyes. He jokingly said, "When you were able to break my curse technique, it was because the curse technique only contained a strand of my divine sense. Although I do not know how you hid your cultivation, but now that you are facing my real body, you can only die." The man in black was very arrogant. He considered everyone else beneath him. Then let's see who's the real deal. The killing intent in Tang Zheng's heart also roared, and the two of them attacked at the same time. Their figures flashed as they exchanged blows. A black sword slid out from the man in black's sleeve. With a flash of black light, it slashed towards Tang Zheng. "Careful, this sword is a yellow-level magic weapon." Tian Chanzi cried out in alarm. "I never would have thought that he would actually have a magic weapon, I miscalculated." Tang Zheng did not care about a magic weapon, his only thought was to kill the man in black. This kind of vicious person must be exterminated. It could also be considered as revenge for Nana. The night was like water, the black sword perfectly blended in with the darkness, matching the man in black's clothes, making him look like a ghost. Tang Zheng used his bare hands. He directly used the Heaven-Flying Immortal's sword technique. Facing a normal martial artist, he could use the Heaven-Gathering hand, but facing a cultivator he did not dare to be careless, so he used the most powerful Heaven-Flying Immortal's sword technique. Now he did not only know the first 15 moves, ever since he reached the 6th grade refining qi, he comprehended 5 more moves. Now he can already use the first 20 moves of the first move. He only saw his fingers close together, like a long sword, piercing towards the man in black. Both of them used sword techniques, but the way they wielded their swords was completely different. Tang Zheng's sword technique was elegant and full of elegance, while the black-clothed man was gloomy and filled with death aura. Every slash of his sword was filled with dense yin qi. In an instant, the two of them had already exchanged over 10 moves. Their figures moved and flickered, and it was dazzling. But both of them were very orderly and didn't lose their bearings. Every single move they made was extremely dangerous. "Little brat, you must not be careless," Tian Chanzi reminded. "Of course, this is also a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Fighting with a cultivator and fighting with a martial artist are two different concepts. Pay attention to the different experience." Tang Zheng restrained his mind. He did not dare to breathe. The man in black's attacks were endless, especially that black sword. It had a kind of power that made him tremble in fear. The power of the magic weapon was obvious. Hey, this black sword is rich in chi. If you snatch it and use it as your weapon, it will definitely help you. What you lack the most right now is an offensive magic weapon. Tian Chanzi was like a bandit leader, coveting the black sword. The man in black did not know that his opponent was coveting his black sword, but from the series of attacks, he could see the clues. His opponent absolutely could not be underestimated, especially this exquisite sword technique. He was quite afraid. However, his eyes gradually lit up. Without a doubt, this sword technique was an extremely exquisite sword technique, and this was what he lacked the most. His sword techniques were all ordinary, and there was no way they could be compared to this set of exquisite sword techniques. I'm going to kill him and snatch this sword technique. This brat does not even have a magic weapon. He definitely does not have any background. Maybe he was lucky and coincidentally became a cultivator. This is really a good opportunity to kill and steal. I'm going to take advantage of it. The world of cultivators was actually a world where strength was respected. If one's strength was not strong enough, it was easy to be trampled under the feet of others. For mysterious techniques or magic weapons, killing and robbing was simply a common occurrence. Just like when Tian Chanzi and Nemo fought for the ancient Clear Heaven Scroll, they did not hesitate to fight to the death. Of course, the man in black did not know that his magic weapon was also targeted by Tang Zheng. Otherwise he would definitely fly into a rage. Who are you? What kind of sword technique is this? The man in black asked with interest. Heaven Flying Immortal. Tang Zheng already had the intention to kill, so he did not hesitate to tell the other the truth. The man in black's heart flashed a trace of doubt. He had never heard of this sword technique, but he had never heard of many sword techniques, so it was not strange. But from this name he could see that this sword technique was indeed not ordinary. Such an exquisite sword technique is simply a waste in your hands. Prepare to die. The man in black thrust his sword forward. The black sword emitted a black light. In an instant, the air seemed to be compressed to the extreme, quickly attacking Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng hurriedly went up to meet it. The black light made him feel threatened, but it also made him calmer. Magic weapons were indeed extraordinary. Pooh! Blood splattered. The black sword brushed past Tang Zheng's shoulder. Tang Zheng was injured. He was clearly at a disadvantage in this move. I've played with you enough. Now I'll let you experience my true strength. As the voice fell, the black sword's light became increasingly hot. A cold aura instantly filled the small alley, and a cold wind blew. Tang Zheng had the 9-yang saint body, so he did not feel anything strange. Instead, he felt very comfortable with this cold aura. With a leap, he pounced towards the black-clothed man. Seeing the black-clothed man raise his sword to stab at him, the black light from the sword instantly enveloped him. Countless gloomy and cold auras rushed into his 8 extraordinary meridians. A strange thought arose from the bottom of his heart, almost disturbing his mind. Careful, this black sword has the ability to disturb the mind. Tian Chanzi warned. Kill! The man in black roared, shaking the hearts of people. The black sword pierced towards Tang Zheng's chest. Suddenly, the black light trembled, and a large python drilled out from the black sword, immediately coiling around Tang Zheng's head. One above and one below, they coordinated with each other, attacking fiercely. Seeing the snake head, Tang Zheng was startled, but he did not panic. He pointed his finger, and his sword broke through the air, chopping at the black sword, blocking it. But the python had already coiled around Tang Zheng's head, and a cold aura poured into his 8 meridians, causing him to shiver. This python was clearly not a physical object, but was condensed from some kind of energy, but its killing power was not inferior to a real python. In an instant, it coiled around Tang Zheng from top to bottom, turning him into a rice dumpling. Hey, I'll let you experience the power of my black monarch snake. The man in black proudly laughed. This black monarch snake was a soul that he had painstakingly killed and collected in the black sword. His arrogance was due to the black monarch snake. Although he was only a 6th-grade refining chi, he had once relied on the black monarch snake to kill a 1st-grade natal realm martial artist. From this, it could be seen that the black monarch snake was much more powerful than his low-level sword techniques, and was also his greatest reliance. Hey, but in the future, with this little brat's exquisite sword techniques, Together with the Black Monarch snake, my strength will increase by leaps and bounds, and I will even be able to contend against Master. He faintly looked forward to it, and his killing intent surged as he roared, "Black Monarch snake, kill him for me!" The Black Monarch snake let out a sharp hiss and opened its bloody mouth, causing a fishy smell to rush towards Tang Jing. Its sharp fangs were clearly visible in the night, emitting an evil aura like that of a death god. It bit towards the top of Tang Jing's head, as if it wanted to swallow him whole. Chapter 127. Seeing the bloody mouth coming down, Tang Jing let out a loud roar, and his whole body ignited with purple flames. The Black Monarch snake's attack came to an abrupt halt, and it let out an ear-piercing hiss, as if it was angry, but also frightened. Dash forward, look at the latest chapter. Bang. The sound of roasting meat was heard, and the Black Monarch snake's body emitted a burst of black smoke. Suddenly, as if it had seen its natural enemy, it let go of Tang Jing and tried to escape back into the black sword. The black-robed man turned pale with fright. He had never seen such a strange thing. Seeing the Black Monarch snake fleeing in panic, he subconsciously retreated half a step, and then he saw an unforgettable scene. Tang Jing's body was covered in flames, and he was like a fire god. His hands reached out and grabbed the Black Monarch snake's head, and immediately, the sound of roasting meat was heard again. The Black Monarch snake continued to roar as it continuously retreated, its large tail smashing into the ground, creating a deep trench, yet it was unable to escape from Tang Jing's hands. Tang Jing roared as he used all of his strength to open the Black Monarch snake's mouth and forcefully tore it apart. The Black Monarch snake split into two, turning into strands of black smoke. With a wave of his hand, Tang Jing's flaming hands wrapped around the black smoke. The black smoke quickly entered his body, turning into pure yin energy that disappeared into his meridians. The Black Monarch snake was originally formed from the soul, and was a yin qi. Tang Jing's body needed pure yin qi to balance, so he did not waste it and kept it for his own use. Of course, the Black Monarch snake's pure yin qi had a lot of impurities, and could not be compared to the pure yin qi he absorbed from Fang Shishir's body, but it was still better than nothing. The black-robed man looked at Tang Jing as if he had seen a ghost. The Black Monarch snake was his trump card, but it was killed by Tang Jing just like that, and even absorbed. What kind of cultivation technique are you cultivating? The black-robed man asked in fear. You don't have the qualifications to know. Tang Jing's killing intent soared, and the flames on his body disappeared, returning to his sea of consciousness. His clothes were not burned, because he had specially separated a part of his true qi to protect his clothes, otherwise, he would become naked. In fact, all of this was just a move he had suddenly thought of when he was about to fall apart. Who would have thought that a grade 1 true fire would be so awesome, to actually be able to kill the Black Monarch snake in an instant? How could a grade 1 true fire kill the Black Monarch snake? No, true fire is used to refine pills. How could it be used to attack? The black-robed man was still immersed in a huge shock. Even the current heaven monk was still immersed in shock. The old man who had lived for over 1,000 years also had the same doubts as the black-clothed man. In the cultivation world, no one had ever used true fire to attack. Instead, they used it for alchemy. It seemed that from the moment true fire was discovered, it had been labeled as an alchemy tool. Even if someone used a fire attribute attack, it would not be true fire. Instead, it would be using a magic treasure to transform one's own true qi into a fire attribute attack. In short, Tang Jing had unintentionally subverted common sense. Only he who had become a monk halfway through his life, and the heaven monk had not instilled any knowledge in him, would suddenly think of using the true fire to attack, and even inexplicably succeed. At this moment, Tang Jing's fighting spirit had risen to an unprecedented level. Staring at the black-robed man, his killing intent soared, "Go die! Heaven flying immortal!" This attack was condensed with his aura and that high fighting spirit, allowing him to instantly appear in front of the black-robed man. With a tap of his finger, pew, the air seemed to ripple, and it was a level higher than his previous attack. The black-robed man subconsciously retreated. He was really frightened by the scene just now. Battered and exhausted, he raised his sword to block. However, Tang Zheng's figure flashed, cleverly avoiding the sword. His finger had already pointed at the black-robed man's chest. An arrow of blood shot out from his back. He looked at his chest in disbelief. There was a bloody hole in his chest. The true qi in Tang Zheng's finger was like a sharp sword, instantly tearing apart the black-robed man's flesh and piercing his heart. The black-robed man looked at Tang Zheng in horror. The vitality in his eyes was rapidly fading. He struggled to raise the black sword to counterattack. However, how could Tang Zheng give him the chance? He smoothly grabbed the black sword and placed it on the black-robed man's neck. You actually won. How is this possible? The first strange practitioner I met killed me. I refuse to accept this. A low growl came from his mouth. Blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Speak quickly. Or you. Do you have any accomplices? Tang Zheng coldly asked. Accomplices? The black-robed man's voice suddenly rose a few octaves. You killed me and caused a great disaster. My master will avenge me. You're dead. You're about to die and you still dare to threaten me. Even if you don't say, I have a way to find out. Tang Zheng immediately used the soul-searching technique. The black-robed man screamed, soul-searching technique. You actually know the soul-searching technique. Or you. Tang Zheng clearly felt that the black-robed man was resisting his soul-searching technique. However, this resistance was getting weaker and weaker. He wouldn't be able to hold on for long. At that time, he would be able to find out the secret in his mind. You want to know my secret? No way. Just wait for your death. My master will avenge me. The black-robed man's voice came to an abrupt end. His neck tilted and he fell to the ground. He was dead. There was no way to use the soul-searching technique on a dead person. The black-robed man obviously knew this, so in the end, when he knew that he wouldn't live for long, he killed himself so that Tang Zheng wouldn't be able to pry into his secret. Tang Zheng looked at the corpse in surprise. He couldn't help but feel some regret. However, he also felt some fear. Especially, who was the master that the black-robed man mentioned? Even a disciple is so powerful. Then the master must not be weak. I am definitely not the opponent's match. This is really troublesome. He frowned, but he wasn't too afraid. He would deal with whatever came his way. At the very least, he couldn't be afraid before fighting. That wasn't his style. He squatted down and removed the hood on the black-robed man's head. He finally saw his true appearance. His appearance was very ferocious. An ordinary person would definitely have nightmares if they saw him. However, Tang Zheng didn't feel anything. He began to search the black-robed man's body, hoping to find some clues. After searching for a long time, he didn't find anything. Tang Zheng picked up the black sword and carefully examined it. The black sword was 30 centimeters long. No wonder it could be hidden in his sleeve. The body of the sword was completely black without any decorations. It looked ordinary and even a little ugly. He didn't expect it to be a magical treasure. Kid, in the future when you have this magical treasure, your strength will greatly increase when you use Heaven Flying Immortal. If you meet an expert, you won't be as passive as you are now. Tian Chanzi said happily. Tian Chanzi, don't be happy too early. If I assassinate him, his master and even his sect will definitely come. If it's just one person, then it's fine. But if it's a large group of people, I'm afraid I won't even know how I died. Tang Zheng said solemnly. Tian Chanzi laughed mischievously. What are you afraid of? Don't you have me? The sooner you find a carrier for me, the sooner I'll be reborn. I'll directly help you deal with those small fries. Tang Zheng's heart moved. Didn't he have Tian Chanzi as a helper? Indeed, he didn't have to worry too much. It seemed that the most important thing now was to find a carrier for Tian Chanzi. This demon is so poor that he doesn't even have a single valuable treasure on him. He can't be from a big sect, so you don't have to worry too much. Tian Chanzi comforted. Tang Zheng nodded and walked towards the car without saying a word. He found that Mu Hongyan and Nana were still dumbstruck. They were staring ahead with their eyes wide open, as if they hadn't heard anything that was happening outside. How do I deal with this great hypnosis technique? Tang Jing could only ask Tian Chanzi for help. The great hypnosis technique is a good technique, and it's the foundation of cultivating the puppet technique. However, this kid only knows a little bit. At most, he can control the thoughts of ordinary people. But if it's used for too long, it will indeed cause harm to the human body. Tian Chanzi showed off his professional knowledge. Tang Jing hurriedly urged, "Since it will cause harm, don't keep me in suspense. Quickly tell me how to deal with it." Tian Chanzi didn't beat around the bush. He taught him how to deal with it. After a while, the mother and daughter returned to their senses as if they had just woken up from a dream. "Tang Jing, why are you in the car?" Mu Hongyan was surprised to see Tang Jing sitting in the backstage. "Wow, brother godly doctor, I see you again. Are you reluctant to part with Nana?" Nana quickly climbed to the back seat and leaned into his arms. She was very surprised. "Let's get out of here first," Tang Jing said without batting an eyelid. Mu Hongyan stared blankly as she had already heard some clues. She vigilantly looked around and saw the black-clothed man lying on the ground. She was frightened and almost screamed. But after all, she was a person who had seen big storms and big waves. She calmed down in an instant. "Did something happen?" Tang Jing nodded and pointed to Nana and said, "Let's go first. We'll talk about it later." He didn't want Nana to see the black-clothed man's body. It would leave a psychological shadow on her. Mu Hongyan understood. She gratefully looked at Tang Jing. Then she started the car and drove out of the alley. Only the black-clothed man's body was left lying quietly in the same place. "Call someone to deal with it." Tang Jing pointed to the alley and said. Mu Hongyan understood what he meant. She immediately called someone to deal with the body. Presumably, she would also start an investigation on the body. Nana didn't realize that she had just brushed shoulders with death. She hugged Tang Jing's neck and said in a childish voice, "Brother godly doctor, come back to my hometown with me. Nana will play with you every day." Tang Jing stroked her smooth black hair like a big brother next door and said, "I still have to go to school." "Go to school?" Nana tilted her head. "Nana's body wasn't good before, so I never went to school. Now that Nana is better, can I also go to school?" Mu Hongyan squeezed out a smile and said, "Of course you can. When we go back, I'll arrange for you to go to school. You have to follow your brother's example and study hard. Do you understand?" Nana nodded seriously. "I'll follow brother godly doctor's example. I want to get a little red flower. I see other children getting a little red flower at school. Nana will definitely get a lot of little red flowers because Nana is the most obedient and the smartest." Tang Jing couldn't help but hug her tighter. She was like a little angel. Tang Jing would never allow anyone to hurt her. The three returned home and left Nana in the care of Mama Lu. Then under her shocked eyes, Tang Jing and Mu Hongyan entered the bedroom together. After her husband passed away, no man had ever entered her bedroom. Chapter 128. Mu Hongyan's bedroom has an indescribable fragrance that seems to make people's minds wander. But what caught Tang Jing's attention the most was the words hanging on the wall. To be precise, there were only two large words, "under the heavens." Under the heavens, this was such a large word. If it was a man's room that hung these two words, he wouldn't be too shocked. At most, he would say that the owner had the world in his heart. But Mu Hongyan was a woman who didn't know martial arts, so these two words were particularly eye-catching. More importantly, it was hung in her bedroom as if it was constantly reminding her of it. Lying on the bed, he could clearly see this and a majestic feeling hit him in the face. Tang Jing didn't know how she fell asleep every night facing these two words. Mu Hongyan gestured for him to sit on the only chair, while she sat on the bed. Following his gaze, her expression did not change in the slightest as she calmly asked, "What do you think of these two words?" "The concept is too big." Tang Jing spoke the truth. It was said that men had the world in their heart, swallowing mountains and rivers. But in today's peaceful times, how many men had this kind of heart and boldness? Even if Tang Jing was a cultivator and not a mortal, he still didn't have this kind of thought. "I like it." Mu Hongyan looked at it with infatuation. My late husband also liked it. At this moment, her temperament was completely different from usual. She lacked a trace of gentleness and motherly nature, but gained an indescribable feeling that seemed to perfectly blend with the two words. He must have been a very amazing person. Tang Jing sighed. Mu Hongyan didn't comment. A person dying is like a lamp being extinguished. Everything is gone with the wind. Tang Jing was speechless. Mu Hongyan withdrew her gaze and looked at Tang Jing. Her gaze became more dignified and sharp. Can you tell me what exactly happened? Tang Jing then narrated the discovery of the clues, the pursuit of the car, and the final battle with the black-clothed men. However, he did not mention the battle between the demon race and the black monarch snake. After all, he was still unwilling to reveal his identity as a cultivator to the public. At most, he would give the other party the impression that he was a martial artist. Why did Nan Nan and I lose consciousness? Just like you said, we were even at the mercy of the black-clothed man? Mu Hongyan instantly grasped the crux of the matter. This was something that had never happened before, and it was too strange. Tang Jing had already thought of an excuse. Maybe the other party used some kind of drug. I'm not too sure. Mu Hongyan looked at Tang Jing with a burning gaze. She didn't force him, but she seemed to want to get more information from his eyes. However, Tang Jing's expression didn't change, and he didn't send out any additional information. I suspect that this person is in cahoots with the people who harmed Nana. Maybe after they found out that Nana had recovered, they sent people to kill her again. Tang Jing deliberately said. In fact, it wasn't considered misleading. They were in cahoots, but he concealed the matter of the demon race. Mu Hongyan nodded, agreeing with this statement. I will investigate this matter and see if I can find any clues from the black-clothed men. I hope so. Tang Jing didn't have much hope. The black-clothed men were cultivators, so they would definitely be good at hiding their secrets. They would even protect their secrets with their lives. It would be too difficult for outsiders to find out their secrets. Mu Hongyan's expression clearly relaxed. Tang Jing, this time you saved us mother and daughter again. I don't know how to thank you. These were sincere words. This kind of life-saving grace was too difficult to repay. Tang Jing smiled and said, Nana calls me brother. Of course, I have to protect her. You don't have to mind. Mu Hongyan revealed a smile. Nana is really lucky to have you as a brother. But we are going back to Dianan soon. I don't know when we will see each other again. I will find time to see Nana. Don't worry. Well, then I look forward to your arrival. The two of them went out of the bedroom. Under Mama Lu's strange gaze, Tang Jing said goodbye and left. Mu Hongyan stared at the door in a daze for a while before she came back to her senses. After that, Tang Jing's days returned to normal. He went to school during the day and went on dates with Fong Shishir at night. Yi Dingdang was unhappy. Tang Jing didn't care too much, but he got a set of martial arts from Tian Chanzi and taught it to Feng Yong. Tian Chanzi was not stingy with martial arts. It seemed that he didn't care much about these martial arts. However, Tang Jing didn't notice that a strange gaze was staring at him from a distance, full of fear. For the past few days, Gao Daji could not bear to leave. Occasionally he would mutter to himself, his eyes lifeless, monster, monster. Moreover, he deliberately avoided Tang Jing. Whenever Tang Jing's eyes inadvertently swept over him, he would immediately lower his head and shiver, as if he had seen something terrible. He had indeed seen something extremely terrifying. That night, he had clearly seen the scene of Tang Jing chasing the car and fighting with the black-clothed man. In order to find something that could be used against Tang Jing so that he could report it to Yi Dingdang, he secretly followed Tang Jing. He saw him talking and laughing with a very beautiful woman in a restaurant. He was so excited that he thought that he had found something that could be used against Tang Jing. He hurriedly took pictures and videos secretly, preparing to show them to Yi Dingdang to prove how fickle Tang Jing was. Later, he saw Tang Jing riding a bicycle and chasing a car. He was also safe and sound after being hit by a car. He recorded it all. He hoped that Tang Jing would be hit by a car and die. When he saw the scene in the alley later, he was completely stunned. Although it was a little far away and the light in the alley was not very good, he still had a rough idea of what was going on. Moreover, he had recorded it. When he saw Tang Jing fighting with a python, and his body was on fire, but he was safe and sound, he almost screamed. This was a fact that no ordinary person could accept. Takashi could only define Tang Jing as a monster to explain these strange things. It turned out that his opponent was a monster. No wonder he couldn't win against him. This also explained why Qiao Fei was in a vegetative state. He felt a lingering fear. This monster had already surpassed the limits of human strength. All of his actions were pale and powerless. He was unable to harm the other in the slightest. On the contrary, if he had attracted Tang Jing's attention, would he have been killed like the black-clothed man? Thinking of the man in black, he remembered that face. After Tang Jing and Mu Hongyan left, Takashi boldly ran over to check the scene. When he saw the man in black's ferocious face, he was so scared that he fell to the ground. After a long time, he came back to his senses. He gathered his courage and searched the man in black's body, as if he wanted to figure out the other party's identity. But in the end, it was futile. He couldn't find anything. When he heard that someone was coming, he panicked and left the scene. After returning home, those terrifying scenes often appeared in his mind. He didn't even dare to look at the video. He casually threw it in a corner. He never wanted to see that scene again. But that night he still had a dream. In the dream, Tang Jing was like a man on fire trying to catch him. The man in black's ferocious face also appeared in his dream. That face seemed to be smiling at him. These days, he had nightmares about Tang Jing and that ferocious face. In the end, that ferocious face appeared more frequently than Tang Jing. It made his spirit become dispirited. He listlessly lay on the table, hiding from Tang Jing. Tang Jing didn't know that he had inadvertently frightened Takashi. He didn't have the mind to pay attention to Takashi. He was now worried about Tian Chanzi's carrier. The carrier was a dead person, but it couldn't be an ordinary dead person. If it was a person who died of old age, their body would be too weak and would be useless. But young people died in accidents. Their bodies weren't complete and couldn't be used. In the end, the two of them discussed for a long time and decided to go to the morgue. Maybe they could find a satisfactory one. Tonight was the trip to the morgue. After school, he said goodbye to Feng Shishir and walked to the hospital under the cover of the night. Most of the morgues in the hospital were in the basement. It was gloomy and horrible. For ordinary people, this was a place that they didn't want to set foot in. But for today's Tang Jing, he didn't have such a big psychological barrier. He was still quite brave. Isn't it a joke if practitioners are afraid of ghosts? This was Tian Chanzi's original words. Tang Jing was even more embarrassed to show fear. Otherwise, Tian Chanzi would definitely laugh at him. At night, there were fewer people in the hospital, so Tang Jing quietly went to the basement. A gloomy aura hit him in the face, especially when he saw the words morgue not far away. It was as if it had a magical power that made people feel a deep sense of fear when they saw it, but they couldn't help but look over. The people on duty had already gone home. The basement was empty. Only the sound of Tang Jing's footsteps echoed around. Listening to it gave people a creepy feeling. Tang Jing pushed the door and entered. A gust of cold air hit him, and the temperature suddenly dropped a few degrees. He couldn't help but shiver. Suddenly he felt a tremor on his back. He was shocked. There was no one around. What was trembling on his back? He wasn't scared at first, but in this environment, he was scared by the sudden movement and his nerves were tense. It was like watching a horror movie. You know it's fake, so you don't have to be scared. But when you combine it with the environment and the music, you can't help but feel scared. The environment can really affect people's senses. Tang Jing slowly turned his head and opened his eyes wide. What was behind him? Was it a female ghost with a long tongue and disheveled hair? There was nothing. Tang Jing let out a sigh of relief, but his heart immediately tensed up as he felt the trembling on his back. Moreover, it was becoming clearer and clearer, so it was definitely not his imagination. F***CK. What's there to be scared of? I'm a practitioner. It's a joke to be scared of ghosts. Moreover, the guy in my head is also a ghost. Tang Jing kept reminding himself that he was no longer as scared as before. He suddenly turned around, but the huge morgue was still empty, not even a shadow could be seen. Are you kidding me? This ghost is too boring. Tang Jing was inexplicably angry. He shouted, I don't care what kind of ghost you are. Get out of here or I won't let you go. The tremor came again. This time it was more intense, as if something was going to rush out. Chapter 129. This time, Tang Jing did not turn around. He reached behind him to grab whatever it was. No matter what he grabbed, he would not let it go. Amazed face, amazed face, he grabbed it. He grabbed the backpack on his back, and the trembling sensation came from inside. F***C, so it's you. Tang Jing could not help but curse. His heart was relieved. He quickly took off the bag and took out the culprit. Black sword. It was the treasure he took from the black-clothed man. The black-clothed man died, so the black sword became an ownerless item. He effortlessly dripped his blood on it. Now he was the new owner of the black sword. He had studied the black sword before. Although it was not as mysterious as the 9 revolving alchemy furnace, it was exceptionally sharp. When he injected his qi, the black sword would emit light. A faint layer of black light would wrap around the sword, giving it a mysterious feeling. However, the black sword did not have the black monarch snake soul, so its power was not as strong as before. But Tang Jing did not dislike it. After all, it was an offensive treasure. In battle, it could be used to protect his life. Why are you trembling? Tang Jing fiercely slapped the black sword, almost scaring him to death. If he were to be scared to death by his own magical weapon, then he would become a laughing stock. 10. The black sword calmed down after being slapped by its owner. Tang Jing held it in his hand. If he really encountered any ghosts, he would slash at them. Tang Jing opened a freezer. The cold air hit his face. Inside the freezer was an old man's corpse. He shook his head and pushed it in again. Tang Jing continued to open several freezers. If it was not an old man, then it was completely unrecognizable. He opened another one. Hey, this time it was a young man. Tianchanzi, look, how is this? Tang Jing excitedly shouted. Little brat, you are deliberately angering me. This is a female corpse. Do you want me to become a woman? Tianchanzi said angrily. Tang Jing laughed. A woman is not bad. Nowadays, there are so many men who specially go for surgery to become a woman. This is the original package. There is no need for surgery. Moreover, it is quite beautiful. You've lived for thousands of years, but you've never experienced the feeling of being a woman. Now that you have the chance, don't miss it. Brat, if you dare to speak again, be careful that I will beat you up when I am reborn. Alright, I won't say any more. Let's keep looking. Tang Jing started to search again, but it seemed that not many people had died in this hospital. After looking around, he did not find a suitable one. Tianchanzi, don't be so picky. Just pick one. Choose my ass. If I don't find the right one, I will never move. I will always stay in your head. Also, the master of the man in black may come looking for you. I want to see how you deal with him by yourself. Tianchanzi was exasperated. Tang Jing had no choice but to promise to go to other hospitals. In the end, he spent a few hours and went to several hospitals in the city, but he still couldn't find the one that satisfied Tianchanzi. Tang Jing sat down on a chair and looked at the full freezer, saying, "You finished looking, but you're not satisfied with any of them. How are you going to find another one?" The physical fitness of modern people is too weak. Even if I attach my soul to it, the body can't take it. Instead, it will damage my soul. The loss outweighs the gain. I am not a casual person. I will not compromise. Tianchanzi said sternly. Then we can only come back after a while to see if there are any new deaths. Tang Jing was helpless. Buzz. Suddenly, the black sword in his hand shook again. It hadn't stopped for a single moment tonight. Tang Jing felt that it must be suffering from a fever. Why was it shaking? A cold wind blew. Tang Jing's whole body shivered. I've been infected by the black sword. Why am I shaking? In these few hours he had seen many different morgues. He didn't see a single ghost, so he became bolder. Was there an electric fan here? What was with this cold wind? He looked around. Every hair on his body stood on end. In the blink of an eye, the originally dead silent morgue had undergone earth-shattering changes. It was as lively as a market, with countless ghosts moving about. Damn! Tang Zheng was stunned. What was going on? How come there were so many ghosts in the blink of an eye? Hey brat, are you afraid? Heaven Monk appeared again, taking pleasure in his misfortune. Tian Chanzi, what's going on? Look at the time. Tang Zheng hurriedly took out his phone. It was just past midnight. At midnight, the ghost gate opens. These ghosts are going to enter the ghost realm. Tian Chanzi proudly explained, between heaven and earth, there is not only the human world. There is also the ghost realm. It is the place where ghosts go after people die. Buzz buzz. Tang Zheng did not have time to sigh with emotion as the black sword began to tremble nonstop, as if it was very excited. Tang Zheng did not know what was going on, but at this moment, a cold wind blew and the ghosts scattered in all directions, revealing a large empty space. A ghost with a green face and fangs grabbed another ghost, opened its mouth, and bit off the ghost's head. It ate with relish. The other ghosts acted as if they had met their nemesis and ran far away, but there was only so much space, so how could they hide? While Tang Zheng was still in a daze, the green-faced and fanged ghost grabbed another ghost and began to eat heartily. Yes, it was like eating the most delicious meal. There was a satisfied expression on its ferocious face. Tian Chanzi, this ghost seems different. Of course it is different. This is no ordinary ghost. It is an evil spirit. This person must have been an evil person when he was alive. After death, he became an evil spirit and devoured other ghosts to strengthen himself. Tian Chanzi was not surprised. These guys can become very strong if they devour enough ghosts. However, this kind of dirty thing is not good enough. Obviously, Tian Chanzi looked down on evil spirits. The evil spirit walked around and ate another 3 ghosts. Then it came to Tang Zheng. The evil spirit's body grew bigger and was a head taller than Tang Zheng. At this moment, facing the sitting Tang Zheng, it felt like it was looking down on him. Tang Zheng raised his head and stared at the evil spirit. He curled his lips and said, "So ugly. You can see me?" The evil spirit seemed to be very surprised. It looked fiercely at Tang Zheng. It had already stayed here for several days and no one had ever seen it. How could it not be surprised that a human could see it? Evil spirits did not have high intelligence. They only kept many of their habits from when they were alive. Therefore, most of them only had their ferocity and cruelty left. Tang Zheng nodded and said bluntly, "You're too ugly. Don't get so close. It's disgusting." The evil spirit let out a roar, "Kill!" It charged directly at Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng did not think that he would be implicated. These ghosts were weak, but that did not mean that he could not do anything. The black sword excitedly trembled, as if it was summoning its master to fight. Tang Zheng did not hesitate. He slashed out with his sword. A black light flashed and half of the evil spirit's shoulder was cut off. It turned into wisps of black gas and entered the black sword. "Brat, I'll give you some pointers. This black sword likes Yin energy. Kill this evil spirit and use it to nourish the black sword. It can increase the black sword's power. Why didn't you say so earlier?" Tang Zheng really wanted to roll his eyes. "Hee, you wanted to use a female corpse to fool me. Why should I tell you?" Tian Chanzi said with an evil smile. This old man held grudges. After the black sword absorbed the evil spirit's Yin energy, it trembled even more violently. It was as if it had taken a stimulant, making Tang Zheng speechless. The evil spirit angrily glared at Tang Zheng. It roared in a low voice. It was not afraid at all. It charged at Tang Zheng again and used its only hand to slap him. Shwa! Another slash. He did not use an exquisite sword technique like the flying celestial sword technique. He directly chopped off the evil spirit's other arm. The black sword happily absorbed the Yin energy, just like how the evil spirit ate the other ghosts. Foodie. Tang Zheng unhappily gave it these 2 words. The evil spirit attacked again. This time, it opened its bloody mouth to bite. Is this evil spirit an idiot? It only knows how to attack. It doesn't even know how to dodge. Tang Zheng curled his lips and said with disdain. It really did not have any skill. I said that the evil spirit's intelligence is not high. It only retains its cruel nature from when it was alive. It doesn't even have the instinct to be afraid. That's why it only knows how to attack until it disappears. Tian Chanzi explained. Since it was an evil person when it was alive and an evil spirit after it died, this kind of evil thing cannot be left in this world. I'll make it disappear. Tang Zheng stood up straight. He held the black sword with one hand. Seeing that the evil spirit was already in front of him, he let out a low shout. The black sword blazed with a black light. Puchi! From top to bottom, the black sword directly chopped down on the evil spirit's head. It then chopped down all the way to the bottom. The evil spirit was split into 2. It quickly turned into a ball of black energy. The black sword quickly absorbed it. It was like a whirlpool. Not a single trace of black energy escaped. Looks like there's only one evil spirit here. Otherwise, I wouldn't mind killing another one to give the black sword some nourishment. Tang Zheng looked around. All the ghosts were cowering and hiding in the corners. They seemed to think that he was an evil spirit, especially that black sword. It could absorb Yin energy. Weren't they formed from Yin energy? Don't be afraid. I won't hurt you. Tang Zheng waved at them. It seemed that he wanted to find 1 or 2 to chat with. After all, this kind of experience was too special. It was rare for ordinary people to have this kind of experience. However, this idea was immediately ridiculed by Tian Chanzi. Ghosts were muddle-headed. They did not remember many things from their lives. Chatting with them was like playing the lute to a cow. Tang Zheng curled his lips. He could not help but regretfully dismiss this idea. However, the black sword was still very excited. It pointed the tip of its sword at the ghosts. It seemed to be saying, "Master, let me eat them." Tang Zheng sensed its intention. He impatiently patted the body of the sword. Be honest. These ghosts are just ordinary ghosts. They're just like ordinary people. They're not evil spirits. What's the point of killing them? If you want to absorb Yin energy, I'll find you another evil spirit next time. The black sword had no choice but to submit to its master's despotic power. It did not dare to act rashly and quieted down. Tang Zheng looked around. He felt that there was no need to stay any longer. Just as he was about to leave, a cold wind suddenly blew. A loud roar sounded. Stop! Who's there? Chapter 130. This loud roar stopped Tang Zheng from taking a step forward. A gust of cold wind came from behind Tang Zheng, like the roar of the cold wind in a snowstorm. In a spurt of energy, it reached his back. Please add, Shua. His hair stood on end, his whole body shivered. Tang Zheng did not even think. He slashed out with his sword. In this environment, there was no need to worry about accidentally injuring others. The strong Yin Qi showed that the other party was not a living person. More importantly, this Yin Qi was much stronger than the evil spirit from before. He did not dare to be careless, so he made the first move. At the same time, his body jumped to the side and turned around, immediately seeing the situation in front of him. 2 guys with spears were staring at him, roaring, "Who are you? You dare to attack the ghost envoys? Do you not want to live anymore?" Tang Zheng carefully looked at the 2. Their appearance was not much different from a human, but they were obviously not living people. Their whole body emitted a strong Yin Qi. Their faces were pale and lifeless. Ghost envoys. Tang Zheng frowned as he stared at the other party. These 2 were actually ghost envoys, but he did not care who they were. He directly asked, "Why did you sneak attack me just now?" "You killed a ghost. Of course we ghost envoys want to capture you and punish you." "Are you saying that I killed that evil spirit?" "He killed other ghosts and he also attacked me. Of course I want to get rid of him." "Evil spirit." The other party looked at each other. Where did this evil spirit come from? There are a few missing ghosts here. Clearly you killed them, daring to kill ghosts. you are going against the ghost realm. Do you know your crime? Tang Zheng could not help but roll his eyes. How could these two ghost envoys be so indignant? He pointed to the other ghosts and said, "Ask them, did the evil spirit eat them or did I kill them?" When the other ghosts saw the ghost envoys, they instinctively trembled. Their originally muddled state became even more chaotic. How could they say anything? "Since you do not know your crime, then we will take you to the ghost realm to punish you," the two ghost envoys said fiercely. "Little brat, don't let them take you to the ghost realm, then you will die," Tian Chanzi reminded. "Of course I know. These two messengers' cultivation levels are not high, but they are quite arrogant." Tang Zheng could already see that his opponent was only a 5th-grade qi refining cultivator, and the two weapons in his hands were definitely not magic artifacts. Hey, even ghost messengers are so shabby. I really didn't expect that. Tang Zheng thought of those myths and legends about how powerful ghost messengers were. It was all complete nonsense. What he didn't know was that messengers were extremely powerful to normal people, but to a cultivator like him, they were nothing special. Reapers are the lowest-level warriors in the world of spirits and souls, just like the lowest-level civil servants in your country. How powerful can they be? He's just using his big name to scare the layman. Tian Chanzi explained. Tang Zheng was suddenly enlightened. So these two were basic-level civil servants. They were very similar to basic-level civil servants. Seeing that Tang Zheng did not say a word, the ghost messengers thought that they had intimidated the other party. They swaggered towards him, the chains in their hands flying towards him, determined to catch him in one hit. Seeing the black chains flying towards him, Tang Zheng came back to his senses. Why is this ghost messenger so unreasonable? Since it is like this, then I will let you know my power. Tang Zheng did not retreat or avoid, instead he met the ghost messenger's head-on. His black sword let out a buzzing sound as it pierced forward. Heaven flying immortal. Ding. The chains were cut in half. The tip of the sword almost brushed past the ghost messenger's nose. The ghost messengers were shocked and retreated, roaring, "You dare attack a ghost messengers, kill without mercy." The two spears landed heavily on the ground and flew up at the same time. One in front and one behind, they pierced towards Tang Zheng. The moves were not amazing, but the two of them had a tacit understanding. The front and back of the spears overlapped, and the power was not bad. Tang Zheng did not underestimate the other party. His body moved quickly. The heaven-flying immortal was continuous, stirring up the yin qi between heaven and earth. Suddenly the yin qi brought about a violent airflow, messing up the spear in front. The spear head tilted and flew past Tang Zheng's body, while the black sword directly met the spear behind. Bang! The tip of the sword and the spear collided, like a needle against an awl. The tip of the spear bent and directly bounced the ghost messengers away. Tang Zheng's thunderous attack was clean and neat, instantly defeating one of the ghost messengers. The other ghost messengers was shocked and looked at him in disbelief. "You are a cultivator?" Tang Zheng snorted and did not answer. He flicked the tip of his sword, and the ownerless spear flew up, while the black sword rose from below. Gotcha! The spear was broken into two. The other ghost messengers saw that the situation was not good. He shook his spear and swept it towards Tang Zheng's head. Although the spear was not a magic weapon, it was still in the hands of a 5th-grade refining qi messengers. Its power was not to be underestimated. Tang Zheng's black sword turned around and firmly blocked the spear. The black sword followed the spear's shaft and flew towards the ghost messengers, creating sparks. Seeing the black sword approaching, the ghost messenger's face turned pale with fright. They hurriedly retreated, but how could Tang Zheng give them the chance? His large hand directly grabbed the spear shaft, making them unable to move. If the ghost messengers did not let go, then they would definitely be cut by the black sword. Looking at the flickering black sword, they knew that the result would not be good. The ghost messengers made a prompt decision. They let go of the spear and somersaulted in the air, barely dodging the sword. Tang Zheng seized the opportunity to grab the spear in his hand and fiercely slammed it down. Bang! The floor cracked, stone fragments swirled in the air. The muffled sound made the two ghost messengers' heart tremble, their faces becoming increasingly ashen. The two ghost messengers did not have any weapons, so they were not Tang Zheng's opponent. They trembled with fear. Who are you in the end? You dare to oppose my ghost realm? Tang Zheng coldly snorted. When did I ever want to oppose the ghost realm? It was clearly you who indiscriminately slandered me for killing the ghosts. In fact, all of this was done by that damned evil spirit. If you had arrived earlier, you would have seen me behead the evil spirit and protect these ghosts. Therefore, you inverted black and white, used the name of the ghost realm to threaten me, and even wanted to kill me. Tell me, what is the reason for all of this? Tang Zheng's voice was powerful and resonant. The two ghost messengers could not help but shrink their necks. However, the two did not compromise. Instead, they looked at each other, as if they were trying to encourage each other. No matter what you say, you must come with us to the ghost realm to explain this matter clearly. Huh, you want to take me to the ghost realm? Do you have the ability to do so? Tang Zheng jokingly laughed. The two ghost messengers showed an embarrassed expression and said, You know you have made a big mistake, yet you still dare to laugh. Humph, it will be too late to cry when the time comes. You want to scare me with the name of the ghost realm? In your dreams. Tang Zheng was not afraid of them. Anyway, he had the initiative. What to do, he would have the final say. You are a cultivator, what sect are you from? Seeing that Tang Zheng was not listening to them, the other party changed the question. No sect. You dare to play with us. You don't want to tell the truth, right? Well, I will go get help. Let's see if you will tell the truth. One of the ghost messengers took out a token and waved it. A black light flashed, and a door appeared. The ghost messengers lifted their legs and walked into the door. Boy, that is the ghost gate. Quickly stop him. When he returns to the ghost realm, you won't be able to stop him. Then you will really make a big mistake. Tian Chanzi anxiously shouted. Tang Zheng rushed over like a gust of wind, but the other ghost messengers rushed towards him. It was obvious that they were trying to buy time for their companion. Tang Zheng was very anxious. Seeing that the ghost messengers were about to enter the ghost gate, he took a deep breath and threw the black sword. A sharp sound broke through the air, and the black sword flew towards the ghost messengers. The ghost messengers must have felt the killing intent behind them. They subconsciously turned their heads and saw that the black sword was already in front of them. It was too late to escape. Poof! The black sword pierced through their chest. They fell to the ground in front of the ghost gate. They widened their eyes in disbelief. The ghost messengers who were always high and mighty died just like that. They died in the hands of a human. The token fell to the ground, and the ghost gate disappeared with a flash of black light. Tang Zheng breathed a sigh of relief. Since there was no report, this matter could be controlled. Moreover, from the moment he threw the sword, he knew that this matter could not be settled peacefully. The ghost messengers believed that he was the one who killed the ghost, so he could not deny it. He might as well go all the way and kill the ghost messengers. Anyway, killing one was killing, and killing two was also killing. At this moment, his body was emitting a strong killing intent. The ghost messengers saw it and hurriedly retreated. The death of their companion gave them a huge shock. This person was not afraid of the ghost messengers at all. If they stayed, they would die. They wanted to escape, but there was nowhere to go. Boy, your idea is right. The ghost realm is very powerful, and you are insignificant in front of them. You are not even a small shrimp. Therefore, killing the ghost messengers without letting them know is the best thing for you. Moreover, they were wrong before, so they deserve to die. Tian Chanzi comforted. He was worried that Tang Zheng would have a mental barrier. Tian Chanzi, don't worry. I am not a stubborn and inflexible person. Since they wanted to kill me before, of course I will not sit still and wait for death. Politeness demands reciprocity. Killing them is also a matter of course. Ha, you are a promising child. Tang Zheng walked step by step towards the ghost messengers. The ghost messengers retreated again and again until they were in the corner, retreating into the group of ghosts. Don't kill me. If you kill me, you will become an enemy of the ghost realm. You will die without a burial. The ghost messengers threatened. Hee hee, you are about to die and you still dare to threaten me. "You are amazing," Tang Jing jokingly mocked. The ghost messengers rolled his eyes and suddenly gave in. "No, I will explain to the superiors that this matter has nothing to do with you. Please let me go." Tang Jing's mind moved, and there was a trace of hesitation. The ghost messengers sharply captured this. With both hands, they grabbed the ghosts beside them and threw them at Tang Jing, while they flew towards the token on the ground. Tang Jing immediately saw through the ghost messenger's trick. The ghost messengers wanted to take advantage of the moment when he was distracted to grab the token, open the ghost gate, and return to the ghost realm. At that time, everything would be too late. Two ghosts flew towards Tang Jing. Tang Jing hurriedly dodged. He saw that the ghost messengers had already grabbed the token and was about to open the ghost gate. Tang Jing did not dare to hesitate. He threw out the spear that he had been holding in his hand. Poof! The spear penetrated the ghost messenger's body and firmly fixed him on the ground. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.